Welcome to Dr. Pepper Championship Drive Game of the Week.
Special uniforms, special place. The Iowa Hawkeyes always show up here at Kinnick Stadium. And when the big boys, the top-ranked opponents visit, they often leave upset. Ohio State comes in fresh off a comeback for the ages. Down 15 at the start of the fourth quarter. They made big plays on special teams. A block punt turned it. The front four lived in the backfield, completely shutting down Barkley and McSorley and all of Penn State. And J.T. Barrett was perfect. How about 13 for 13 with 3 touchdowns? And just like that, the Buckeyes are back in the playoff race. Today, number 6, Ohio State steps smack into the middle of a blackout to take on Iowa. It's the Buckeyes, and it's the Hawkeyes, and this is college football on ESPN, presented by PlayStation Vue. Is this heaven? No, it's the broadcast booth here at Iowa. With Brian Greasy, I'm Steve Levy. Todd McShay will be on the way. People still buzzing about what happened last week in Columbus, and J.T. Barrett completed his last 16 passes. If you go back even to the third quarter, put him in the playoff race, in control of the Big Ten, and maybe the H word, which Urban Meyer said could be hallelujah or the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah, I think we're watching a stretch run of one of the great players the last 4 years in all of college football. You know, you got to think back to what he's been through, coming back from injury. 2015, he's benched for Cardale Jones. You know, they get blown out against Clemson in the semi last year, and then everybody after the Oklahoma game this year saying, we need somebody else. But all he's done is respond. And last week in the fourth quarter, he was near perfect. Using his eyes to move defenders. This was a big momentum changer early in the game to McLaurin. You could see looking left, moving those Penn State defenders, and then comes right back, knows exactly where he needs to put this ball for the touchdown. And then this last drive, amazing. This, to me, was the throw of the game from J.T. Barrett. The anticipation, knowing you're going to get hit, Steve. You're going to take this hit, but you got to make the play for your team on the game-changing drive. He throws it out there, and I think today, he needs to continue the momentum, right? Forget about last week. Leaders lead on the road, a tough environment. He has to set the tempo for Ohio State.
He considers himself just a little cat from Wichita Falls, Texas. We will watch for that. And oh, by the way, Ohio State's defense is out of control. They might be just as responsible for winning last week's game. Todd McShay on that when we come back. But Iowa and Iowa City, they live for these kinds of games, and they'll show up today. Back at Kinnick Stadium here in Iowa City, nearly 70,000 will be on hand. Temperature 49 degrees, 20% chance of rain. J.T. Barrett and that Ohio State offense got all the headlines last week, but Todd McShay digs a little deeper. McShay.
Levy, I've got to tell you, there's a lot of great defensive lines in college football this year, but I would say the deepest and the best pass rushing group resides at Ohio State. You look at last week, the depth was so important. These starters for Ohio State are only playing 38 plays per game. That allows you, late in the fourth quarter, when you need to get the pass rush on the quarterback, to show up, and that's exactly what they did, dominating in the fourth quarter of that game. We're talking about 5 potential first few-round draft picks in Joey Bosa, Sam Hubbard, Jalen Holmes, Tyquan Lewis, and Draymond Jones at the defensive tackle spot. This group is loaded, and it's worth noting, Iowa, 2 freshman offensive tackles today. They've got to do a heck of a job game planning to protect their young quarterback.
At least Todd mentioned the other team. 2 teams out there today, Greasy. A lot of focus on number 6 Ohio State early on.
Absolutely, but these Hawkeyes, they know how to win here in Kinnick. They did it last year, upsetting number 3 Michigan, and they almost got Penn State. A lot of people said they should have won that game if not for McSorley late touchdown on the final play.
Iowa has won the toss and deferred. We'll see J.T. Barrett and that Buckeyes offense to start. And a good look at the Ohio State uniforms. I'm not even sure in Columbus they like the alternate jerseys they wore a week ago. And in the special blackout unis today for the home team, the Hawkeyes. Ohio State comes in 7-1, 5-0 in the conference. Iowa 5-3, 2-3 in the Big Ten. And we are underway. And a quick kneel down. And J.T. Barrett and that Ohio State offense will take over the 25.
Barrett delivers. job and just try to play my best for the team.
I've never had a kid play perfect, but damn, he was close tonight.
Can you say damn on television?
He can. He can say whatever he wants after that win.
What a story, what a game, and as you pointed out earlier, the best thing they can do right now is immediately put that behind them. So here's Barrett on 1st down and 10. J.K. Dobbins is the single setback. They send him out in motion to the right. All sorts of time for Barrett, and it's intercepted! It's picked off right away! Intercepted Amani Hooker! Pick 6! 8 seconds into the game! Iowa leads! It's a 30-yard return off the pick 6 for Amani Hooker, the sophomore from Minneapolis. And the extra point is on the way and good. What a start for the home Hawkeyes. 8 seconds in, they have the lead.
So J.T. Barrett was trying to go through his progression. He was looking left, wanted to throw the ball left. You're going to see right here, the safety Hooker just reads the eyes of J.T. Barrett. He's coming back for his last read, and I don't think he saw him at all, Steve. And what a play to start this game from Amani Hooker. You know, talking with defensive coordinator Phil Parker, he said he's going to put the most pressure on his safeties to make plays in the run game today and in the pass game, and they couldn't start any better.
And remember, J.T. Barrett had completed his last 16 passes. No quarterback in the country had been hotter than Barrett. He's thrown 1 interception all season until now. Make it 2.
If you have any question about the resolve or whether Ohio State could bounce back, right? The same thing happened a week ago. Saquon Barkley takes the opening kickoff back for a touchdown. The next drive, they have a fumble. Paris Campbell puts the ball on the ground. They go down 14-0. This team has been tested. They know how to respond.
Second possession coming for the Buckeyes. And Mike Weber will return. Weber stumbles out to the 20-yard line, and Ohio State will try to reset and get this going again. There are people still coming into the stadium that will sit down and notice there's a 7 on the scoreboard for the home team.
One more look. You see 27 is Hooker. He's just reading the eyes of the quarterback. Then he sees that's the outlet receiver and steps in front and finishes. And now J.T. Barrett's got to take a deep breath. These fans that are late, they missed it already.
Can't be showing up late. So here we go again. Second offensive snap for Ohio State in the game. And Barrett will keep it.
I'm not big on doing the whole crowd noise report, but I can't even hear myself think down here. This place went wild. I mean, it was loud to begin with, and after that pick 6, nobody sat down.
Well, that will be a factor, and it's been a factor in all the big-time games when the top-ranked foes come in here. We asked Josie Jewell just about that. He said, no doubt. Here's Barrett on the left, throwing and completing for a short gain. See a mouthpiece popped free. Going to bring up a 3rd down and short. We asked Jewell about that, and I said, hey, how big are the fans? How big a deal in all those kind of upsets or close games? He said, they're it. He said, they're the reason.
Yes.
Which is hard to believe. You think it'd be scheme or talent? He gave it all to the fans, all the love on 3rd and 1. 1st down, it's Barrett, the ball carrier, and he's got the yard he needed.
It's one of the toughest places to play in the Big Ten. I played here, and I remember it being loud, and the fans are right on top. It makes it a great environment to play in, but it is very difficult when Iowa's playing well and they get momentum for opposing offenses to communicate. Something to keep an eye on for Ohio State today.
Got the 1st down. That should settle things down. Here's Barrett, the ball carrier again, off the play fake.
I think you see a little bit of the identity of Kevin Wilson and this offense now, right? When you have something go bad early in the game, you get to what you really rely on quickly. 3 runs from J.T. Barrett. That's what this offense really why they're different than they were against Oklahoma earlier in the year.
On second and short, here's Barrett to throw, and it's a wide open K.J. Hill. Hill has become the go-to guy, with Paris Campbell not having made the trip. It's a gain of 29.
Yeah, and these guys, K.J. Hill is going to be featured today because no Paris Campbell did not make the trip to Iowa City with that concussion from a week ago. And you're going to see when you get guys that wide open, usually it's because of the run fake in the backfield and J.T. Barrett having to run the ball 3 times in a row.
On first down and 10. Here's Barrett to throw. Middle of the field, end zone, all alone is Terry McLaurin for the touchdown, making that look easy. And points aplenty here early on in Iowa City.
Well, you want to talk about the play that Amani Hooker made to start the game, right? They're going to come right back at you. There he is right here. You're going to get the receiver, just goes right down the field. And this is the pressure they're going to put on these safeties. The Hooker, you got to be deeper there. Either the corner or the safety has to be deep. And typically, in this quarter system of Phil Parker, it's the safety.
Extra point on the way. It is good. Of course it is. Sean Nurnberger has now made 152 consecutive extra points. So Ohio State answers. Folks, we played 2 minutes and 18 seconds. And we're in a 7-7 game. That's how it all started. The pick 6 off J.T. Barrett. We'll see the Iowa offense next. Kickoff coverage has been quite an issue. Urban Meyer was visibly upset about it. I mean, after last week's game, I think even yesterday he was upset about, still about it, and vowed to make changes.
Yeah, and he has. You see 33, that's Dante Booker. He's a starting linebacker. Didn't have any starters on the kickoff unit a week ago when they gave up that touchdown to Barkley. He said they needed better athletes. He's made some changes.
And they go to the true freshman, Blake Haubill, to kick it off. Ivory Kelly Martin will take a knee, and we'll send it flying back to Adnan Virk.
All right, thank you very much, Steve Levy. There's a Dr. Pepper Championship Drive update. Iowa State and West Virginia. Here's Will Greer to my guy David Sills. 10-0 for the Mountaineers against the Cyclones early. Also, Clemson and NC State. Huge game in the ACC on ABC. Ryan Finley to Kelvin Harmon. 7-0 for the Wolfpack early in that one. Leaves, back to you.
Yeah, this is going to be the Adnan Virk show the rest of the afternoon. You want to get used to that.
Yeah, I need him to keep me up to date. He's got a lot going on at 3:30.
Get the ESPN app, Grease.
I'm trying to watch this game.
Oh, I see. You're trying to watch this game, the one you're at. I got you. First down and 10. Get a look at Nate Stanley for the first time. 7-7 without Iowa's offense stepping foot on the field. Here's their first snap with possession. And Stanley comes out throwing and overthrows his intended target. The key to this game will be won. This game will be decided by those who attack the Iowa quarterback and those who protect him today.
You'd be hard-pressed to find 4 better rush guys in all of college football on one team. And these guys, as Todd mentioned, alluded to, they took over the second half of that Penn State game. And here's the Iowa offensive line. 2 freshmen, 1 redshirt, and 1 true in Tristan Wirfs and Alaric Jackson. This line is anchored by their senator, James Daniels. He's got to get this crew going today.
Second down and 10. Akram Wadley's first carry's a big one down the sideline. And he'll be knocked out by Jordan Fuller. Akram Wadley rips off a big one for 30 yards.
We talk about this offensive line. A lot of it is the zone read. They're going to come up. It's zone blocking up front. You get push. You got guys that want to rush the passer. The best thing you can possibly do is start running the football in Iowa with a good start.
Nate Stanley, the sophomore from Wisconsin, has really come on as the season has progressed. And a little bit of a hard count.
I love that. I love the hard count, right? That's the other thing you can do. Guys that want to get upfield, use your snap count.
Offside. Defense. Number 86. 5-yard penalty. First down.
We were talking with Nate Stanley in the meeting yesterday, and I asked him, what are some things that you can do to neutralize this great pass rush? And Kirk Ferentz knows it. And he said, I'm going to use my snap count. He said, okay, give us a little sample. And he gave us a sample in the meeting. And you don't see that in college football much anymore because nobody uses the snap count. Everybody's in the gun.
First down and 5. Play fake. Stanley to throw. He's in some trouble now. And he'll get rid of it and sail out of the bounds. Here come the flags late. That could be intentional grounding. We'll see if it was a late hit. There are 3 flags on the field. Ron Snodgrass is our referee today. It is a Big Ten crew, I will point out. Sorry, that's an inside joke. That's just for us. It's obviously a Big Ten crew.
Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness. Defense. Number 35. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
That's Chris Worley, the senior from Cleveland.
Boy, we saw Ohio State kind of self-destruct in the first half against Penn State. And again, they give up that interception return for a touchdown, and that's a hit that's just, that's unnecessary. Ball's gone, and he's taking a shot at a receiver it's not even looking at.
Big break early for Iowa. First down and 10. Stanley to throw. Lofts one a little too high for Noah Fant, one of his go-to guys.
We've seen a trend here early in this game for Iowa offensively. They want to throw the ball on first down. They got to stay ahead of the chains. They've had some success. You see the last 2 games on first down. Offensive coordinator Brian Ferentz has been dialing that up a little bit more, and it's had a lot of success. 3 times on this opening drive they've done it already.
That was the first thing I noticed, Brian, watching tape. Brian Ferentz, completely different in terms of the aggressiveness and wanting to take some chances early on. Not the same tendencies we've seen the last few years.
Pitch to Wadley. He'll try the left side off the sides. Able to turn the corner and get slammed out at the 19. Chris Worley, who got the penalty on the unnecessary roughness, made the hit there out of bounds.
And if Iowa's going to take this game from Ohio State, they need Akram Wadley to contribute, not only running the football, but catching the football as well. He's probably their most reliable receiver through the course of the first part of the season. He's got that speed, and that's what you typically don't see from that position for Iowa, but he's got game-breaking speed.
3 tight ends in the game on 3rd down and 5. Here's Stanley to throw. Good protection. Lays it out perfectly, and they have the first down, and it is Noah Fant. 11 of 19 catches coming in for Reese resulted in a first down. That's good for 6.
Yeah, he's just a true sophomore. He's almost a hybrid tight end receiver type, 6'5", 230 pounds, but he is a matchup nightmare because of that size, and he's got the speed to go with it. And on 3rd down, he's one of Nate Stanley's favorite targets.
That's him in a slot to the right. On the ground to Wadley. Just get back to the line of scrimmage. It's Worley there. Again, the play calling is interesting. Iowa was able to score on their first drive last week. That's the first time they've scored a touchdown on their first drive all season. And they came out throwing 3 consecutive plays, which is against what has been the traditional Iowa offensive philosophy.
Yeah, and Brian Ferentz has spent a lot of time in the NFL with Bill Belichick, and he is a smart individual. He's got a lot of plays on that sheet. The question is, how do you block up this Ohio State defensive line and run some of those plays?
2nd down and 8. They can get a first down still. Stanley had it batted up in the air and nearly intercepted. Draymond Jones able to bat it in the air. Sam Hubbard nearly able to grab it. 3rd down.
Yeah, he had a receiver open. It was the tight end, and he's looking him off, and he comes back, and he wants to drill that ball in there. But Draymond Jones, great job. They teach, once you see the ball leave the quarterback's hand, get your hands up, If he doesn't get his hand on that ball, that could have been a touchdown.
This is where you got to account for 97, Bosa.
Third and 8. Nick Easley in motion. Looking right, throwing right, trying to go back shoulder. Denzel Ward able to knock it away from Matt Vandenberg. Fourth down upcoming.
Great coverage from Denzel Ward, the junior, all over the wide receiver. Vandenberg, they're going to play a lot of man-to-man coverage, Steve, and that was as good as you could play it for Ward. You know,
I think Ward's one of the, I would argue actually he's the best pure man-to-man cover corner in the country. Nobody knows about him because he really only played in a rotation last year. They lose a couple more guys to the NFL from that secondary. Ward steps in and is playing at a really high level.
Here's Miguel Recinos on to attempt a 30-point field goal. It is up and it is good. 9:19 to go here in the first quarter. Iowa back on top. They lead 10-7. And if not for the fine defensive play, could have been worse for the Buckeyes. JT Barrett on offense when we come back.
ESPN College Football is presented by PlayStation Vue. Watch the biggest moments in sports. Try it free today. And in part by Ford. Going further so you can.
What started as a suggestion on an Iowa Facebook fan page has turned into the latest and greatest tradition in college football. Krista Young was a lady from Anita, Iowa. She's largely credited with the idea, posting it on the Hawk fan page, Hawkeye Heaven in May. That's a shot of the Stead Family Children's Hospital, which overlooks Kinnick Stadium. And we would ask you to stick around at the end of the first quarter.
I just want to say thank you to Krista.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was so a great idea, that was. And then what I love most is the fans have taken ownership of it, right? It wasn't a directive by Iowa or the football team or even the Children's Hospital. It was the fans here at Iowa.
And it's become a huge sensation. Here's Mike Weber from the 8 for Iowa State. Excellent kick coverage by Iowa that time. Back to Adnan Burke.
All right, Leaves, thank you very much. This time updating you what's happening. A great game over on ABC. Clemson and NC State. That's Ray McLeod returning the punt. You know, this is the 50th return of his career. First time for a touchdown as he makes some serious moves and breaks a lot of tackles as he zigzags all over the place. Bottom line is this. Clemson's tied it up at 7. It's on ABC. Steve, back over to you.
Adnan, thank you. 10-7. Iowa leads Ohio State. JT Barrett to start the first pick on the opening snap. And he has settled down nicely on that last drive. And they face a 3-point deficit. Out to J.K. Dobbins for a few. Josie Jewell. That will not be his last tackle of the day.
Glad you mentioned him.
Yeah.
He's quite a player. He's a leader, unquestionably emotional and physical leader of this Iowa team. Not just the defense, but the entire team. He missed the Northwestern game and they lost it. He's got to get this defense going here against Ohio State's potent offense.
2nd and 3. Here's Dobbins again, the true freshman, and he's brought down. And I'll bring up a 3rd down and short. Sam Brinks made the stop. Dobbins, a true freshman from LaGrange, Texas. Only the 6th Ohio State true freshman to start a season opener. He's in good company there, a lot of good names. Orlando Pace, Maurice Clarett, the list goes on and on. Includes Michael Jordan, who's starting at the left guard for the Buckeyes. Here's 3rd and 1, and we'll get a timeout.
Timeout. Ohio State, their first. 30-second timeout.
Buckeyes take the timeout. We've talked about some of the Kinnick Stadium magic. What happens to the big boys, these top-ranked teams that come here to visit? November 8th, 2008, saw Iowa defeat 3rd-ranked Penn State. October 30th, 2010, here comes Michigan State. There's the Michigan win.
And then earlier this year, yeah, that Penn State, which game they could have easily had.
on a McSorley pass, the last play of the game.
Play of the game. And that's, if people have questions about whether Iowa defensively can slow down Ohio State, well, they did it to Penn State. And certainly they want to get this game to a fourth quarter. I think that's the big key for Kirk Ferentz in Iowa.
3rd and 1. Dobbins to the right of Barrett. Barrett's going to keep it and pick his spots. He has the first down yardage. Good patience, good delay to get the necessary yards.
And it's a great read from J.T. Barrett. If he gives that ball, it's not a conversion because Dobbins went down immediately. And you talk about J.T. Barrett, and everybody looks at, you know, the 16 for 16 to end the game last week. But he's making decisions, critical decisions on basically every snap for Ohio State in the run game, too. And he's almost flawless.
Play fake, Barrett to throw this time, and complete to Marcus Baugh. We send it back to Adnan.
All right, Steve, thank you very much. Updating you right now what's happening in South Bend. You know, Brandon Wimbush, he can do some things with his legs. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish averaging over 300 rushing yards per game. Here the quarterback scampers in 7-3 right now for the Fighting Irish. Leaves back to you.
Adnan, thank you. So many great games. Such a big weekend in college football. 1st down and 10. It is November after all. Here's Dobbins. Turn of the corner with speed. J.K. Dobbins finally knocked out by Jake Gervais. Dobbins showing the acceleration there. Gain of 35 on the play.
This is all set up by J.T. Barrett running the ball effectively. On the last drive, he ran it 3 times, and he ran it there for a 1st down on 3rd down. And all of a sudden, you have to respect J.T. Barrett running the football and the speed of J.K. Dobbins to the 2nd level. Iowa doesn't have a safety that can run with him, so they have to have the right angle to get him down.
Here's Barrett, right up the middle, down to the 21.
This is what we're talking about. You got to respect it. So those linebackers hesitate just a minute, and there you see Gervais, the safety number 30. And it's not his fault, you know. It's just Ohio State had, well, it's pretty, everybody knows Ohio State has better athletes than Iowa does. And if Iowa's going to win and pull this upset, they have to be more disciplined on the 2nd level.
2nd and 4 at the 21 of Iowa. Mike Weber's in the backfield now. They send him out. Split him out, top of your screen. Rushing 4. They get there, but they can't get Barrett. There is a flag down. Barrett's on the run. And he will head for the sideline. 2 flags are down on the play.
I think they're going to get Demetrius Knox, the right guard, for a hold.
Holding. Offense. Number 78. 10-yard penalty. 2nd down.
This is just about effort from the Iowa defensive line. You continue. Nobody's open initially. He's right here. That's Nelson, the defensive end. Just continue to fight, and that's a good call by the official. First time I've seen Iowa play a man-to-man coverage, and they wanted to get an extra rusher, that 5th rusher, and ended up benefiting.
Penalties have been an issue for Ohio State. 8th most penalty yards per game in the FBS. So make it 2nd and 14. Here's Barrett. He'll turn the corner. Has some running room. Got the 1st down and then some. Hey, that looked pretty easy.
Yeah, and that's where you're getting an advantage in the numbers. A great block from Mike Weber, the tailback. You know, a lot of people think that, you know, these backs are just in there to run the ball, but, you know, Ezekiel Elliott made it fashionable to block for a Ohio State running back, and Weber and Dobbins have taken the lead from that.
Handoff. It's Dobbins for a couple of yards. When Barrett threw the pick 6 to start this game, that marked the 1st turnover for Ohio State on the road this season. This being their 4th road game. And that has sort of disguised what's really going on in this 1st quarter. Outside of that play, Ohio State's had a big edge and moving up and down the field.
Iowa's okay with them moving the ball. It's just trying to keep them out of the end zone. If they could force a field goal attempt here, I think they'd be pretty happy.
Dobbins, the running back, split out to the left. Here's Barrett to throw. Looking for the middle of the end zone. It was knocked aside. Excellent coverage Bo Bauer and Josie Jewell were there.
This is the same play that Penn State scored twice on in the second half last week. It's kind of an invert of the receiver coming inside of a tight end and then up the middle, and in a two-deep defense. That play was there a week ago. Great job by Jewell, recognizing it, probably studied that play on tape all week, and just got a big mid on it.
The outlaw, Josie Jewell. 3rd and 7. He'll get loud. Rushing 4. End zone, back of the end zone. It is juggled. Ben Victor could not bring it down.
Boy, this was a good throw from J.T. Barrett. There's not a lot of room down there to throw the football, as we know. He's got to get it over that linebacker, and that's perfectly thrown. And if Victor was able to catch it clean, he had the foot in bounds, missed opportunity.
Fourth and 7. Here's Sean Nurenberger on to attempt a 27-yard field goal to tie the game. On the way. And it is good, and that was close. That might have shaved the upright a little bit. 4.5 left here in this first quarter. Just how close? Score can't get any closer. Time. You're watching the Big Ten on ESPN from magical Kinnick Stadium here in Iowa City. We've got a good one this afternoon. It's 10-10. Ohio State pretty much in control of their own destiny in the Big Ten. The FBI Football Power Index has them at a 75% chance to win the conference. Michigan State and Penn State both 4-1 in the conference. And Ohio State coming in 5-0, perfect 5-0 in conference play. Ivory Kelly Martin will return it for Iowa. And he's out to the 19-yard line. In conjunction with the annual blackout game, 3 families developed special wave t-shirts to help raise money and awareness for this new tradition. Members of these families include former Hawkeye players like John Mickelson and Cy Phillips, who each had a child being treated at the University of Iowa Stead Family Children's Hospital. The t-shirt idea originally was thought of just friends and family. Had an initial order of 200 shirts. Hey, let's start with 200. And since then, in just 3 weeks, demand has swelled to over 15,000 t-shirts.
Yeah, man, I think they have raised over $250,000 for the Children's Hospital. I'm going to make my donation, get my shirt before I leave town.
Hey, how could you not? How could you not? 5 to snap it. And on 1st down and 10, here's Akram Wadley. Good run to start. The perfect 1st down run for them. Denzel Ward stopped him 2nd and short.
Great 1st down run there. And this offensive line, a lot of people thought, could they block this defensive front? Well, that first drive that Iowa had, they came off successful. James Daniels gets a great block on Sprinkle. And you get Akram Wadley to the 2nd level. And then 3rd down, how are they going to be able to protect against Bosa and Hubbard? The 2 freshmen handled themselves pretty good. You see Wirfs there on the right side against Bosa, and they get a conversion, led to a field goal. So far, so good up front.
Hey, I said 2nd and short. They spotted them with the 1st down yardage. So they moved the sticks. Off the play fake. Stanley to throw. Across the middle, Nick Easley took a big shot, but he's got the 1st down. Easley gets up slowly. Took a big hit after the gain of 14 from Jordan Fuller.
Yeah, and another 1st down pass, Steve. I think that's really the key for Iowa offensively. Nate Stanley, he's a big kid, 6'5", 215 pounds. He can throw the football. That's probably his best strength. He's not going to run around and make a bunch of plays with his legs, but he's got a big-time arm, and they can get some separation at receiver. They're going to play against man-to-man. There'll be some opportunities.
Throwing again on 1st down. Are we sure we're watching Iowa here? Throwing again on 1st down. It's the first catch of the afternoon for Amir Smith-Marset.
That's not an easy throw. Rolling to your left as a quarterback to throw that ball on the outside. But a nice design from Brian Ferentz, a 1st down pass, and you roll out so you don't have to worry about the protection and these rushmen coming after you. And Nate Stanley, 2 for 4, a couple of third-down conversions. It's a good start.
Tough to tell with his jersey because it's black, but Stanley's jersey might be clean. I'm not sure they put a lick on him yet. Here's 2nd and 5. Draw play to Wadley. Bring up a 3rd and short. I believe it's pronounced Adnan Verk.
Nailed it, Leaves. PlayStation View, multi-view. South Carolina, Georgia, in fact, updating you right now. And Sony Michel, this touchdown. The #1 team in the country. Leaves, he just doesn't give up. He's got that hockey player mentality you and I both love. 7-0 Bulldogs. Back to you.
Absolutely. 3rd and 2. Coming up on 2.5 to play here in the first quarter. And you'll want to be with us at the end of the quarter. We will stay here and not go immediately to commercial. You won't be disappointed. 3rd and 2, looking right. Out of the flat, it's Wadley's got the first down. That was perfectly designed.
We talked about it. Akram Wadley can beat you on the ground, but I really think he's as effective as he possibly can be when he's catching the football. And he just comes out of the backfield, a late shift, trying to identify man coverage. He gets it on the linebacker. Look at those hands. That's a perfectly thrown ball from Stanley. Allows Wadley to get the first down.
We asked Wadley if he gets the love he deserves in the conference. We're always great running backs. He said, if we win more, everyone on our team will get a lot more attention. And that's the goal. Here he is again. And that's another way of Wadley saying, yeah, I don't get the attention I deserve. Coming up tonight, another huge showdown. Virginia Tech and Miami. 8 p.m. Eastern, streaming live on the ESPN app. Miami's got 12 consecutive wins. That's the longest active streak in the FBS. They got away with one last week. The ESPN app is a fan's best friend. Stream live games, shows, highlights, and podcasts. Get access to live scores, news from everywhere. Download the ESPN app now. 2nd and 4. I would take a shot, but that's me.
I thought it was 2nd and short on there. Is 4 considered short?
I think it's short. Once you go 5, that's a whole different story. They're going to keep it on the ground. Wadley's got a yard. Tracy Sprinkle.
This is exactly the way that Iowa wanted to start this game. They're in the game, obviously, from a point standpoint, but back-to-back drives on offense. The first drive, 9 plays, and they get a field goal. We're going to see the 8th play of this drive coming up. They're taking time off the clock and staying in the game.
3rd down and 2. And again, we'll stay right here at the end of the first quarter. You'll want to stay right here as well. On 3rd and short, Wadley very close. We'll see where they spot the forward progress. Nick Bosa came up to make the tackle. We might check for a measurement here with 3 seconds left. It's an important spot.
Great effort by Wadley. You know, he's not the biggest backer, 195 pounds, but he's a little bit difficult to get down on the ground. He contorts his body in the hole and gets extra yardage. Tough player.
See if he got the extra yardage here he needs. Wow, that is tight. And they give it to him. And the crowd roars their appreciation. 7th first down for Iowa of this first quarter. And that will be the end of the quarter. We will not go to commercial break. We hope you will stay with us. College football has the best and most traditions in all of sports. And as Kirk Ferentz said, in the day and age we can't agree on anything, we should all be able to agree on doing the wave. Waving up to the kids, and not just the kids, but their families and all the caregivers.
All the nurses and child life specialists. I think this is one of the coolest things I've seen in a long time in college football.
That's great. There's Urban Meyer paying his respect, saying hello as well.
All the Ohio State Buckeyes are waving up there.
We're playing wave on wave by Pat Green in the background. That's so cool. Hey, we want to give a special shout out to some of the kids we got to meet. Smiling Jack, Bria, Logan, and 9-year-old Sam. We're thinking about you guys today. I wish you the best.
And Rachel, their child life specialist, that took us around. She was absolutely awesome. So you got to be a special person to work on that floor. Pretty awesome.
Tied at 10s as we open up the second quarter. Steve Levy, Brian Greasy, Todd McShay. We continue Dr. Pepper's championship drive game of the week. As we come out of the super special wave, kind of fitting that Iowa will be driving towards the end zone that is in plain view for a good portion of those upstairs watching at the Children's Hospital across the way. So sometimes these things just work out. First play of quarter number 2, off the play fake. Nick Stanley taking a shot, able to hook up with Fant. And he's inside the 10. Noah Fant.
Well, you see Nate Stanley getting a little bit more confident with each throw. This was big time here. He had Fant. He had to throw it over the linebacker, Baker, right there. That is not an easy throw. Dropped it in perfectly. And the second catch for Fant in this game is a big one.
See Stanley, 5 of 9 for the 55 yards to this point. First and goal. Hand off to Wadley. Like back to the line of scrimmage, maybe a loss. Bosa wrapped him up.
And this is where it gets difficult for Brian Ferentz. They have not been a good red zone scoring team on offense. And they've already had one drive where it stalled and they had to attempt a field goal. But if you're going to beat Ohio State, you have got to convert these situations into touchdowns. 4th worst red zone efficiency in the FBS. So when you say they haven't been good in the red, it's being kind. 4th worst in the country. Here's second and goal. Got some pressure around his legs, able to hit his man for the touchdown. Iowa back on top. And a great view for the Children's Hospital across the way in that end zone. T.J. Hawkinson on the receiving end. Extra point on the way, and it's good. Well, they threw the ball to Noah Fant twice already in this game, and Ohio State has to pay attention to him. But they also will use him to disguise and try to get other players open. Here's Fant right here, and here's Hawkinson. Fant's going to go this way, and Hawkinson goes up the field. There's too much attention from Ohio State's defense on Fant, and Hawkinson comes wide open in the end zone. 2 guys go with Fant, and then it's Hawkinson for the touchdown. It's great play design by Brian Ferentz, the offensive coordinator. And look, Reese, I mean, I don't study quarterbacks the way you do, but my eye test, Nate Stanley, he looks the part. And Kirk Ferentz said the same thing earlier in the season. I think it was the Iowa State game. Yeah. He said he just looks like he will be there and get there. He's standing strong in the pocket. They knew against the Iowa State game, it did not go well that whole game, and they came back, they kept fighting, and Nate Stanley made enough plays in the end. They get Akram Wadley on the touchdown, but there's something about him. He's calm, he's cool, his blood pressure doesn't go up and down, and he's got him in this football game early. We mentioned that Iowa State game. You know, the Hawkeyes get chided a little bit for their out-of-conference schedule. And they always play Iowa State. This year, that's an important victory. Yeah, the state of Iowa, right? The state of Iowa football this year is pretty good. And 17-10 is the score. This will raise some eyebrows across the country. Here's Mike Weber out across the 20 and to the 24. Adnan Burke, you're up.
All right, Steve, it's PlayStation View, Multi-View. Not only your game, which is very entertaining at Kinnick Stadium, but also West Virginia right now is all over Iowa State. 17-0 at home. That game is on ESPN2, and a huge game in the ACC. Clemson hanging top of the NC State right now, 14-all. Ryan Finley's 8 for 8. He has been spectacular. Steve, back to you.
And then thank you. So Iowa State finds themselves in some trouble right now in Morgantown. Here's J.T. Barrett and the Ohio State offense. And on first down, I'll hand off to Weber, the kick returner. Bring up a second down and short. J.T. Barrett had gone 190 pass attempts without an interception before the pick six he threw earlier in the game to Amani Hooker. And that's how this game started, if you're just joining us. Hand off to Weber again, and he should have first down yardage. And listen, no one's going to panic about Ohio State getting behind. Even if last week didn't happen, they're still so explosive on offense, but they're not concerned at this point.
No, but I do think that right now what's going through Urban Meyer's head and J.T. Barrett's head as well is this is going to be a dogfight. And I think that they knew coming into Kinnick with an Iowa team that's known for toughness and never giving up that this was going to be a dogfight, and now down 7 points in the second quarter. I think they realized it.
Little option pitch to Weber. Cut it to the outside and then dive in. Again, very close to the first down marker again. Jake Gervais knocked him out, second and short.
I think you're going to continue to see all this misdirection and eye candy in the backfield. And it's all about discipline, and that candy in the backfield has led to this team in the second quarter of games absolutely obliterating their opponent.
This is Ohio State's quarter. 2nd and 1. They got all they needed. And they'll move the chains.
At the same time, you think defensively for guys like Josie Jewell and Bo Bauer, Ben Neiman, the linebackers, one of the most experienced groups in all of college football for Iowa. Now they've taken a shot. They've had 2 long drives. They've seen the speed of Ohio State. These two teams haven't played since 2013, so none of the guys on these two teams know each other. They had to get used to each other. And they've seen a couple of drives, and now they can adjust.
Phil Parker said one of the keys would be to keep those explosive plays by the opponent to a minimum. K.J. Hill, his second reception of the game, and he describes explosive plays as plays that go more than 25 yards. Phil's done his own study, Phil Parker has. He said if we allow 2 explosive plays on average, we give up about 13 points. 1 more explosive play means we're going to give up about 28 points per game. They want to stay away from that. 2nd and 5. Barrett will keep it. Make a few people miss. He'll take a shot and has the first down. The gain of 6 on the play. Hooker put a lick on him.
Phil Parker also said that they're going to need to take the football away in this game, and first snap of the game they did that and scored on defense, and when you do that your percentages go way up also.
Dobbins is back in the game. Johnny Dixon in motion, top of your screen.
Urban Meyer's halfway on the field.
Four to snap it. Get it off in time. Here's Barrett off the play fake. Throwing down the middle of the field. It's Johnny Dixon. He was in motion and he's in the end zone for 6. 44-yard strike from J.T. Barrett to Johnny Dixon. And there's an explosive play for more than 25 yards.
And it's only a matter of time with Ohio State, and I think Urban Meyer kind of saved this touchdown. You let it roll, guys. You roll out here. I think they were in an illegal formation, and if they don't get in the right formation, this comes back. But the speed of Johnny Dixon, we saw it last week against Penn State. You get on that second level against Hooker, and there's not a whole lot of safeties that can run with Johnny Dixon with a free release.
Extra point. Right down Broadway. Sean Nurnberger making 153 consecutive extra points. Ohio State, they act quickly. 7 plays, 77 yards. That's a beauty of a ball to a wide open Johnny Dixon. And we're all tied up again. Eventful start to this one. 6th-ranked Ohio State and Iowa. We've had 6 total possessions in the game. All 6 ending with a score. The only people not involved at this point are the punters. And I'll say I'm fine with that if that's the rest of the way.
Yeah, me too.
The punters will get over it. They are people too, we recognize that. 17-17. With Iowa about to get the football. Ivory, Kelly, Martin. Get a good look at what that Ohio State kick coverage team was looking at. That has been an issue.
Let's go back to that touchdown. You think Urban Meyer isn't involved in every aspect of his team? Here he is right here. He's almost halfway on the field. What he's out there screaming about is he knows his tight end is going to get off the ball, and his receiver has to get on the ball to be in a legal formation, and he's out there trying to tell the tight end, the receiver, and J.T. Barrett to get in a legal formation because he knows he crossed midfield. He's got a big play opportunity. But if he doesn't do that, and if J.T. Barrett doesn't do that, then this play comes back. Those are the details, right, that coaches, it keeps him up at night. And I'm surprised that, you know, he's halfway on the field and the official didn't get him off.
I was wondering if it might have been a warning on the play. Here's Nate Stanley to throw. Overthrown, some good coverage, just like the coverage you're about to get from Adnan Vert.
Too kind, Leafs. Clemson and NC State. Speaking of coverage, Clemson's going to pick that up against Ryan Finley. He's 13 for 13 to start the game. That's to Jalen Samuels for a touchdown. Wolfpack up by 7. It's on ABC. Leafs.
And thanks. Hey, just going back to that, should Urban going wild on the field have raised the antenna of the Iowa defense? Some big play was coming, or something big. 2nd down and 10 with James Butler being featured on this series. He's knocked back into yesterday by Dante Booker for a loss.
You know, one of the things I think for Ohio State defensively, this is a little bit of a different, has been a different week because they've played a lot of offenses this year. All of them have been spread offenses outside of Army running the triple option. But this is the first time that they have faced a true pro-style offense, and they had to change up their practice. They had to go and get scout team players to line up in certain positions. It's just changed the way they've had to prepare, and the adjustments after the first quarter, I think, have been excellent from Greg Schiano.
3rd and 9. Nate Stanley to throw down the sideline and overshot his intended target, Amir Smith-Marset.
Not going to take many shots throwing in 12's direction. Talked about Ward earlier, Denzel Ward. Outstanding cover corner. He can flip his hips, turn and run, and they're going to struggle to get any separation from him with the Iowa receivers. They're probably going to have to work on some of these other defensive backs today.
Yeah, Todd, we were talking with Brian Ferentz, maybe some bunch sets, some rub routes to beat man coverage.
Denzel Ward is the player who blocked the punt a week ago that led to the amazing comeback over Penn State. KJ Hill call for the fair catch. It's a 35-yard punt, and that's the first punt of the football game. This is how our ball game started. 8 seconds in, how do you do? It was 7-0 Iowa. We're tied at 17 here in the second half.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing, and Coors Light, whatever your mountain, climb on.
Have you ever seen that before? Visited in the past by President Reagan's, Clinton, and Obama, the Hamburg Inn #2 is a regular stop for politicians during Iowa caucuses. The small family diner in Iowa City has been around since 1935. Most famous item on the menu is the pie shake.
Yeah, they put the whole cherry pie piece in this shake.
It's supposed to be impossible to drink through a straw. Handoff to Mike Weber. Ball came out, and I think Weber got it back. Michael Jordan was there as well. This would normally be where we'd have one of those pie shakes.
Yeah, you can't show those things anymore if you're not going to have one in the booth. That's a big hit there on Weber, and he's fortunate. Michael Jordan heads up play. That's what Iowa needs at this point in this game, because you can feel the momentum swinging towards Ohio State.
2nd and 5. Barrett will keep it. Short of the first down, taking a shot from Josie Jewell.
It's one of the reasons why I think J.K. Dobbins is getting as many carries as he's gotten. Now, he's a different speed, and he's a special young player as a freshman, but Weber's had some fumbling issues. Remember back to the Clemson game in the college football playoff, he had 2 fumbles, key fumbles in that game that were lost to Clemson, and it's just been an issue throughout his career.
Jamarco Jones is down, the senior left tackle for Ohio State. As he's being attended to, we'll step out.
Welcome back to Iowa City. Here's Jamarco Jones, the left tackle, the senior, one of the emotional leaders of this offensive line, along with Billy Price. He's engaged here, and he just gets rolled up on by Michael Jordan on that right knee. He's out of the game, and his backup, Joshua Alabi, a redshirt sophomore from Detroit, in the game and will be called upon.
Steps into a big spot, too, on 3rd down and 1. It's like half a yard they need. Handoff to Dobbins. I don't think he got there. J.K. Dobbins stopped. Going to bring up a 4th down situation. Jake Gervais able to make the stop.
Great job by that defensive line from Iowa. Nate Bujita, Matt Nelson, and we've got another offensive lineman. That's Demetrius Knox, who's down on the field, Steve, in back-to-back plays for Ohio State.
This is so unusual for the Buckeyes. It's a mind-boggling statistic that in the first 5 years under Urban Meyer, every single starting offensive lineman, meaning a player who started a season opener, has played every single game that season. Think about that for a second. We both had to ask, wait a second, do we understand that right? Everywhere we go, teams are down 1 or 2 offensive linemen. 4 of the 5 that started today were making their 22nd consecutive start. Billy Price was making his 50th, but Demetrius Knox was the replacement. He replaced Brandon Bowen. But other than that, they've been injury-free on the offensive line really in all 5+ seasons under Urban Myers. Now here on back-to-back plays, offensive linemen go down.
Yeah, and they both get rolled up on. That time Knox's left ankle looked like he got rolled up on. You don't realize how difficult it is to play in the interior of these lines. There are so many bodies flying around there in short yardage situations. Guys are fighting for every inch, and these offensive linemen are in harm's way on every single play.
Matthew Burrell will replace Demetrius Knox.
Urban Meyer's going to go for it here on 4th down.
Look for this to be in JT's hands. They've had so much success running the football, especially in empty. They like to run that quarterback draw.
With 2 inexperienced offensive linemen now.
And there's no safety back for Iowa. They are banking on JT running the ball.
Barrett taking his time, and he's got the 1st down. Picked the spot he wanted, saw the hole, and able to get the 1st down.
Yeah, there's no safety back, and Josie Jewell was responsible for J.T. Barrett. You see, if he doesn't make that tackle, they go through to the end zone.
Does that count as a warning?
He probably already got the warning when he was on the field.
Michael Jordan had the big kick-out block there to get the 1st down. Now Barrett throwing to K.J. Hill. Juggled and couldn't hang on. 2nd down.
So, yeah, we got to keep an eye now. How will Urban Meyer and Kevin Wilson call this Ohio State offense differently now with 2 starting offensive linemen out? So Knox comes out and Jamarco Jones come out. And the first play you see is a rollout because maybe they're worried about protection.
And for as great as J.T. Barrett was a week ago, that 4th quarter does not happen without that offensive line. 2nd down and 10. They're across midfield. Here's Barrett. Doesn't feel the backside pressure. Loose football. It's out. Ben Neiman knocked it out. And Ohio State able to recover. What a hit by Neiman. Rocking J.T. Barrett's world.
Yeah, it's just Alabi's right here, and here comes the pressure, and it's a lack of awareness, maybe a lack of rep, but Michael Jordan's going to take the stunt, and Alabi has to get out on Neiman.
Iowa has been assessed a sideline warning. 3rd down.
Great job by Phil Parker, knowing two new guys up front and starting to bring some pressure. This is not a heavy pressure team, Iowa, defensively, but a very smart coaching staff. And when you have a weakness, they're going to attack it.
And it's Allaby who's able to recover. It's a loss of 9 yards. Jamarco Jones is back in the game now, but it's still 3rd and 19, and Iowa got the sideline warning. Barrett looked to his left. He'll throw. And let's see, did he grab it off the turf? They'll say incomplete. Looking to hit Austin Mack. Too short. 4th down.
Yeah, I think that ball was tipped, Steve, at the line of scrimmage by one of the defensive linemen, maybe Garrett Jansen, number 53. So he gets a big mid up there, and what a great job by this Iowa defense. You know, they ran a 3rd and short situation in the 43-yard line after a short punt, and they get the stop they needed to keep momentum.
7 offensive plays result in just 3 yards on that drive. Introduce ourselves to Drew Chrisman, the punter, on for his first punt of the afternoon. And it's a good one. We'll see where they mark it out of bounds. Crowd did not enjoy that spot. We send it back to Adnan.
All right, Leaves, thank you very much. I can take the booze, no problem. An update on Bedlam right now. 7-3 Sooners. It's Mason Rudolph to Marcell Aitmans. The Cowboys now take the 10-7 lead in Stillwater. Back to you and Brian.
Thank you, Adnan. 43-yard punt, and it went out of bounds. The home team, Kirk Ferentz, did not. Thought that ball should be in a little better field position for them, instead of being out at the 11. Mentioned the sideline warning was to Iowa. We're told for the celebration, maybe they spilled onto the field after that sack. Akram Wadley, the ball carrier, and a good first down run out to the 20-yard line, stopped by Jordan Fuller.
Akram Wadley needs to continue to get the football in this offense. He's their most explosive player. You've seen him run the ball. Look at him in the hole against Penn State. Just those little slippery moves, but he's catching the football where he is a matchup nightmare out of the backfield on linebackers, even safeties. We've seen him do both of these things in the first half here against Ohio State. And when he gets to the second level, he knows how to finish.
67 yards rushing on 10 carries so far for Akram Wadley. Stanley rolling to his right and throwing, able to complete for the first down, and Nick Easley.
Now, the last piece of this is the pass pro that really jumped out to me when I watched the tape. He's not afraid to go out there and protect his quarterback in 3rd down situations, and that's why he plays every 3rd down. And at the next level in the NFL, you got to be able to do that.
He said one of the keys for Iowa in this game would be bringing the fight to them. They also want to make them play in the deep end.
Yep, which is the 4th quarter.
Coming this way. Heads up over here.
2 tight ends in. Hand off to Wadley. And a flag comes in there. Looked like Noah Fant get called for holding down at the end of the line.
Holding, offense, number 87, 10-yard penalty, first down.
That's the first penalty on Iowa, and that's something that they can't have. They're not the most explosive offense and able to overcome these 10-yard penalties. And Kirk Ferentz knows, there were a couple things, couple keys to being in this game in the 4th quarter. One was getting a turnover on defense and score. They did that. They've been up to the challenge so far defensively, but they can't have penalties. That will kill them.
First down and 20 off the marker. Kirk Ferentz been here 19 years. Throw, found a seam down the middle, and a beauty. Able to hit the hook up with T.J. Hawkinson as we send it back to Adnan Burke.
All right, Steve, thank you very much. Updating you right now in Stanford and Washington State. It's the first time Stanford has played in the snow since 1936, when they played Columbia in the Polo Grounds. It's Luke Falk and Renard Bell. Falk, by the way, now set the new career mark for passing yards in the Pac-12. 14-7, Cougars lead, Steve.
Thank you, Adnan. It's a gain of 22 to Hawkinson on first down and 20, erasing the penalty yardage. Here's Stanley again, firing across the middle. And again, it's Hawkinson across midfield, inside Ohio State territory.
They need to have another guy they can go to, not just Noah Fant in a passing game. And Hawkinson has been the guy with a touchdown already in this game and back-to-back. Give credit to Brian Ferentz. He called the same play on back-to-back first down passes, and he gets a big gain.
Gain of 23. Hawkinson did a good job of adjusting on that ball in midair. It was slightly thrown behind him. Here's Stanley. Will put it on the ground. And it's a short gain. Wadley for a couple. Twycon Lewis able to make the stop.
And we were talking with Brian Ferentz last night. You know, he's come under a little bit of fire. You know, there was an incident last week against the halftime of the Minnesota game where he came out, didn't agree with a call by one of the replay officials, and some expletives came out, and he was reprimanded by the athletic director and by his boss, his head coach, Kirk Ferentz. But an outstanding young offensive coordinator who I think is calling a whale of a game so far in the first half here.
Second down and 8. It's like working in the family business, right? Father-son dynamic is, that's something, that's rough. Here's Stanley, takes a hit as he throws, and the pressure coming from Chris Worley leads to the incomplete pass. Of course, Brian played for him, and Kirk was telling us the only time that Brian's ever called him out for treating him like a dad and not a coach or a boss was when he was playing. He was coming back from injury. He was cleared to play, and he didn't play him. Not one down. And son went to father the next day and said, that was the first time you ever treated me like my dad. I think Kirk was okay with that, by the way. I am your dad.
But Kirk said, I learned a lesson. You know, I learned a lesson there, and he's treated him personally and professionally in separate ways ever since. I think that's the right approach.
Just got the snap away. Stanley trying to stand tall in the pocket, and he'll just airmail that one out of bounds. There is a flag down. Is there a receiver in the neighborhood?
Yeah, there was a receiver over there, and definitely Nate Stanley was in the pocket. I think this is going to be from the center judge. It's going to be more on the offensive line.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer with targeting defense. Number 97. Plays under further review.
That's Nick Bosa.
Stanley's holding the ball till the last second and throws it out of bounds. And he's in the pocket, and Bosa's trying to get there on the left side of the screen. Boy, kind of jumped over an offensive lineman, Alaric Jackson. The ball's out. And yeah, he definitely hits with the crown of his helmet right in the face mask of Nate Stanley. Now there's another guy in between them, but by the definition of the rule.
And it's clearly a launch.
And that center judge is looking right at it. I mean, he's right on top of it. And if this stands, which I don't know why it wouldn't, what an impact on this game it would have.
Arguably their best defensive player. And part of the Rushman we spoke of so highly to open up the broadcast this afternoon.
Bosa's an emotional player. He's an effort player, tremendous talent. Some think he's even more talented than his brother Joey. In that situation, didn't need to do it. I mean, the ball was gone clearly, and there's an offensive lineman in between them, and he's just trying to get some kind of an effect on the quarterback.
While we await the decision, can't say the name Bosa without thinking about his standout brother Joey, who's been terrific now as an NFL player. And fans in Columbus certainly will recall that his final game for the Buckeyes, he got ejected the Fiesta Bowl for targeting. And Bosa's been down on his sack numbers, only 4, but Urban Meyer has said,
after further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down. Number 97 is disqualified for the remainder of the contest.
You see Urban Meyer's expression. So he hasn't been getting the sacks, but he's been getting tons of quarterback pressures and hurries. And he's been maybe the single best defensive player for Ohio State. And now it's a different kind of wave. They'll wave goodbye to Nick Bosa.
I don't think there's any question. He has been the most explosive defender for Ohio State, and probably in college football, there's very few defenders that affect the game more than number 97 for Ohio State.
In one regard, they catch a break with 3 minutes left in the half.
I don't think Urban Meyer considers this a break.
I meant for next week. They do have tremendous depth, but there's no replacing Nick Bosa. On first down and 10. Taking a shot in the end zone. It is caught. Noah Fant. Touchdown. Back-to-back winning plays for Iowa.
There's no better time to take a shot. Right? I know you love to take a shot, second and short. There is no better time than when your opponent is having to deal with adversity. And you get that personal foul penalty, you get 15 yards, you're in the red zone fringe where you love to take a shot, and Brian Ferentz dialed up the absolutely perfect play for Fant.
Extra point is good. I thought Fant was going to run right into the tunnel. Take the football with him.
And he was matched up. Here's Fant right here, and here's Jordan Fuller matched up last week against Mike Gesicki from Penn State. Gesicki made some plays, and Brian Ferentz realized he wanted to get his playmaker, Noah Fant, matched up as well in this game, and they take the lead.
Hey, there's something going on in Iowa City. Taco Bell is a proud partner of the College Football Playoff. Be on the lookout for Taco Bell student sections and passionate fans like these at games all season long. They're having a great time here today at Kinnick Stadium, and why wouldn't they? How could this first half have gone any better for the home team?
No, I mean, the injuries on the offensive line for Ohio State are still a question, and losing Bosa.
Mike Weber from the 6. See a little spark for Ohio State. Flags come flying from all directions as he gets out to the 22-yard line. Iowa has led in the game 7-0, 10-7, 17-10, and now 24-17.
Holding receiving team number 47. 10-yard penalty. First down.
But first, Adnan Virk.
All right, Steve, thank you. Coming up on the Lexus halftime report, an update right now on Clemson, number 4 team in the country. Tough test against the Wolfpack of NC State. Also, Wisconsin stays unbeaten, but not much love for the Badgers right now. And also an update on Bedlam. Oklahoma and Oklahoma State, the Sooners have dominated of late. Jesse Palmer, Joey Galloway, and me. We'll see you at the half, Steve Levy.
Looking forward to that, Adnan. We so cherish these college football Saturdays. Even 3 minutes to go in the first half. Ohio State starting from their own 10-yard line. Barrett will think about it and give it to J.K. Dobbins for a couple. Parker Hesse made the tackle.
Good news for Ohio State up front. Looks like both injured offensive linemen are back. Demetrius Knox back in the game at right guard, and Jamarco Jones at left tackle. We'll keep an eye on their mobility.
Blitz up the middle. Barrett able to throw that way and complete to Dobbins out of the backfield. Bring up a 3rd and short.
Big 3rd down here. 3rd down and 2. This is the area where the feet of J.T. Barrett are so difficult to defend. Josie Jewell, Ben Neiman, Bo Bauer. Got to keep an eye on number 16.
Cool and calm. That's Barrett directing the traffic. Not there. Flag does come in. Trying to hook up with Benjamin Victor. Coverage on the play by Josh Jackson.
Holding, defense, number 15, 10-yard penalty, automatic first down.
That's on Jackson.
Yeah, Josh Jackson is the best cover corner for Iowa, and that's a good call. He got that right hand up on Ben Victor. You know, Josh Jackson leads the country with 15 passes broken up on the season. He's been involved in a lot of plays. Last week against Minnesota had a PBU that led to an interception. If you're going to throw the ball, if you're J.T. Barrett, I'd think about throwing it the other way.
Haven't mentioned his name a lot prior to this. Out to that same side. This time it's dropped. Marcus Baugh.
Getting to that point, Steve, where you're down 7, things haven't gone your way. You had an interception, you had some drops, you had some guys come in and out. If you're J.T. Barrett, it's time to settle things down, right? Bring your guys over on the sideline and huddle, settle them down. You are the calm presence. You need to permeate the rest of your team with that calmness.
Urban Meyer said he's so like a 45-year-old man in a 22-year-old body. He is a mature individual. Got great pocket protection. And it's intercepted down the sideline. It's picked off by Jackson. And it'll be bumped out of bounds. Barrett is intercepted for the second time. Didn't you just say stay away from Josh Jackson? Wouldn't throw in that direction?
Absolutely. But this ball should have never been thrown. This was a force, and J.T. Barrett's trying to go through his progression and should have thrown the ball underneath. And look at it here. He wanted to throw it initially to ball. At this point right there, it should have never been thrown. It should have come underneath the K.J. Hill on the check down. And I don't think that J.T. Barrett ever saw him, but either way, this ball should have never been thrown.
There's some contact down there. Not by just the players. That's our pal Victor, man on the camera down there.
What a great opportunity here for Iowa right before half. I mean, if you go up 2 touchdowns before halftime.
Timeout, Ohio State, their second. This will be a 30-second timeout.
Last week's experience has to help Ohio State. They will not panic at this point.
Yeah, but you don't want to be in this situation, you know.
Every week?
Yeah, and that's just not the recipe. Last week they were at home. Now they're on the road in a very difficult environment, and they lost their best pass rusher, and this Iowa defense has had an answer. They have clearly studied the film. They've seen exactly what Ohio State wants to do. They're confident in what they can do. They've got great experience from their linebackers like Neiman there getting to the quarterback, and they've got a corner in Josh Jackson who is confident to make plays in man-to-man coverage, and here he's playing zone and just comes off and makes a great play for his defense, the second interception of this first half, and Ohio State's on the ropes.
And that's quite a statement in itself. Jackson was penalized the play before, then comes back with a pick 6. You see 2 interceptions in the first half, through 1 all season coming into this one. Minute 35 to play. Iowa still has all 3 timeouts. Handoff is Wadley. He's tripped up, still able to get a few. Chris Worley got enough of it.
Right now, you got 2 tight ends now that are making plays for you on offense, and I wouldn't be surprised if they take a shot here with one of them.
I really want to take a shot now. Iowa will get the ball to start the second half as well. Got a chance for 2 for the price of 1. We'll see, everybody's pointing at each other now. With 64 seconds left.
Nate Stanley went on a hard count. We mentioned that would be a tool in his toolbox to try to neutralize this pass rush, but I think he got his right tackle, true freshman Tristan Wirfs, on that one.
False start. Offense, number 74, 5-yard penalty, second down.
Adnan, you remember when you were a true freshman?
Long ago in Eastern Ontario, Leaves, but Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. Look at Baker Mayfield. On 3rd and 5, we talked about his moxie and his poise and his legs. Sooners right now up 20-10, beginning of the second. Steve, back to you.
Shame you couldn't get into Western Ontario.
He's just trying to do the cut-ins, man. And you can give him a quip every time you throw back to him. You catch him off guard.
Very close relationship. Similar to the one McShay and I had, as opposed to you and me. 45 ticks to go here in the half. Stanley will check it down and make something out of nothing. Look at this. Akram Wadley inside the 5. That could have been a loss. Gain of 21.
Big-time play from Nate Stanley. He's under pressure. The play breaks down the field, but he knows exactly where his outlet is, Steve, and that's playing quarterback. Flip it out there, get the ball in your playmaker's hands, and he makes a couple guys miss. Almost gets in the end zone. He did that to Penn State.
He's going to get a whole lot more love if he keeps this up, and they find a way to win this game. 34 seconds left.
Urban had to call a timeout because they were having a lot of confusion on their sideline with substitutions. Guys didn't know whether to come in or go back, and finally Urban just said, forget it, we got to call it TO.
Hey, who looks like the 6th-ranked team in the country here? I mean, Iowa looks poised and polished here today, and Ohio State's forced to use a timeout there, as McShay points out.
Well, I mean, I don't think that this should be surprising. Okay, we knew that this was going to be a close game. We knew it was going to be a dogfight. The way that Ohio State started last week should have been a clue that this is part of, I think, who they are potentially. I know Urban Meyer thinks this is a really mature football team, and I don't disagree with him, but they've had some things go wrong here in the first half. Turnovers, the boneheaded play by Bosa that have affected them negatively, and sure, they have the talent to respond, but right now, if they go down 2 touchdowns before half, they got their work cut out for them on the road.
Final 34 seconds left in the half. Iowa's 1st and goal. They have all 3 timeouts. Stanley to throw for it. And a wide open man. Touchdown. It's Noah Fant. And the red in the stadium is angry red.
Shouldn't be that wide open, right? That's another bust. Breakdown by Ohio State defensively, whether that was Tuff Borland or Dante Booker. One of those 2 guys, 32 or 33, responsible for the tight end in the flat. What a great catch by Fant.
Extra point on the way. And that, too, is good. It's all going good for Iowa, up 31-17. Hawkeyes' biggest lead of the day.
And it's just a sprint right option, and they're using their best players, the tight ends. 3 touchdowns already. 2 for Fant and 1 for Hawkinson. And when you run that sprint right option, you do a little bit of motion to try to confuse the linebackers, and Greg Schiano at halftime needs to get that cleaned up.
You know, look at Ohio State's schedule and who they've beaten. That's obviously one of the biggest wins of the season by anyone is last week, that comeback against Penn State. But their other wins, Grease, over Indiana, Army, UNLV, Rutgers, Maryland, Nebraska, and stop me anytime.
Yeah. I think we knew that, we knew that coming in. But we felt like we learned something last week, right? With the way that they performed against Penn State, and this game's not over. And we know that Ohio State can come back, but certainly their mettle is going to be tested here on the road. This crowd is into it. Nathan Stanley is playing confident football. Akram Wadley is affecting the game, and they lost one of their best players in Joey Bosa, so we'll see how they respond.
Iowa came in nearly a 3-touchdown underdog in this game. Going to be a whole lot of ranked teams going down today, at least 7 of them. That's by virtue of the fact that there are 7 top 25 matchups across the country. Then there'll be others. Here's Mike Weber. Looked like he nearly had a crease. Banged down at the 23-yard line. Kick off your Week 9 NFL Sunday with ESPN at 10 a.m. Eastern. The Countdown crew will have all the early breaking stories, injury updates, preview each game. Sam and company get you ready. And then we'll cap it all off with Monday Night Football. Lambeau Field, Packers and the Lions. Coverage begins with the Monday Night Countdown, 6 p.m. Also available in Spanish on ESPN2. You played well at Lambeau Field, right?
Love Lambeau Field.
Did you get the best of Brett Favre one time?
Why do you put me out there like that?
Right?
Some big rivalries when I was playing for the Bears.
This is a pretty good rivalry game, too. And Ohio State will take a knee. And at least for now, they'll say uncle. They need a halftime break. The score at the half. Hawkeyes lead the Buckeyes 31-17. We'll hear from Coach Urban Meyer coming up with Todd. But first, the halftime report.
All right, Leaves, thank you very much. It is indeed the Lexus Halftime Report with Jesse Palmer, Joey Galloway, I'm Adnan Burke. Lots of great games, especially right now in the college football world. But let's just take a second to talk about what's happening right now. You surprised Iowa's up by 14 over Buckeyes?
I think everyone's surprised. This Iowa team looks like the number 6 team in the country right now. You would never know who was the better team. Brian Ferentz, the offensive coordinator, has been outstanding for Iowa in his play calling, keeping the defense from Ohio State off balance. And who's this Akron Watley guy that we're watching today with 72 yards rushing?
Yeah, I'm disappointed in Ohio State's defense, though, to some extent, because of their athleticism and how dominant their defensive line is. They've already given up 235 yards in this game. They're off balance, getting the ball run against them, thrown over their heads right now. Nick Bosa, their best player on defense now, won't be around in the second half. If the Buckeyes want to keep their playoff hopes alive, defense has to pick it up here in the second half.
Surprising right now what's happening at Kinnick Stadium. We'll see if Ohio State can regroup.
Lexus Halftime Report.
JT Barrett and Ohio State were so spectacular down the stretch against Penn State, but so far in this first half, Iowa's making some noise. Amani Hooker there with the pick six as the Hawkeyes 31-17 lead. Todd McShay talking to Urban Meyer.
Coach, Iowa's been able to get their passing game going, especially on first downs. What do you do to get that fixed in the second half?
2 turnovers were costly, and they are throwing the ball on us. And we're going to make some adjustments and get back to playing Ohio State football. We're playing a good team in a tough environment. We've got a big second half coming up.
Welcome back to the Dr. Pepper Championship Drive Game of the Week.
Getting set for a second half action, and it will be refreshing. 31-17. Something is brewing here at Kinnick Stadium in Iowa, and Ohio State could not have gotten off to a worse start.
No, this interception return for a touchdown. Amani Hooker starts the day for Iowa. That puts them up 7-0, and then the second interception for JT Barrett by Josh Jackson leads to another touchdown, and that's been the difference in the game, 14 points. But Iowa offensively coming in, they're starting to exploit their tight ends. Noah Fant, we knew he was a mismatch in the secondary. He beats Jordan Fuller for a touchdown, and because Fant has attracted so much attention from Ohio State's defense, he takes 2 defenders on another drive for Iowa, and T.J. Hawkinson gets a touchdown. 3 total touchdowns for the tight ends for Iowa in this game, and that's been the difference.
Steve, leave it alone with Brian Griese. You'll see Todd McShay shortly. You can't help but go back to what happened a week ago. Down 15 going into the fourth quarter. Here it's 14. They've got a third quarter to work with. Look, Ohio State's not going to panic. They're not built this way. And while they're trailing, that's the story. You can't take away from what Iowa has done. They protected their quarterback and haven't turned it over.
Well, I think the difference between this game and what happened last week at Penn State is last week it wasn't JT Barrett the reason why they were down 2 touchdowns, but the 2 interceptions this week are on JT Barrett. How does he respond? Because they're down because of him.
Cool, mature, customer. We will watch for that as we take a look at today's first half stats, brought to you by Hooters.
And it's all the turnovers and the points off the turnovers. And the time of possession is the same, and the yardage is the same. And really, I think the big stat to me, outside of what Ohio State has done wrong, has been what Iowa and Nate Stanley have done throwing the football against a very talented Ohio State defense.
And wouldn't you know it, Iowa's going to get the football for the start of the second half. From the goal line. Flags fly. Stop the 5-yard line. It's Amir Smith-Marset trying to make something out of nothing on the return. We'll check the marker.
Holding, receiving team, number 31. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
Down to Todd.
I thought it was interesting talking to Kirk Ferentz about the preparation. How we haven't seen Ohio State in 4 years. We really don't have the same amount of tape that we would for a normal Big Ten conference opponent. So we went and studied Greg Schiano's tape of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Obviously, that study's worked so far. Some of the first down throwing and different things that they've been able to do in terms of getting off of tendency. But I thought it was interesting going back and studying him in the NFL just to get a feel for what he likes to do.
That really was interesting. I mean, Kirk Ferentz, this whole staff, so much experience at the NFL level. It's not surprising they dug in the archives.
That's 2012 tape. And on first down after the penalty marker, out ahead to the 15 is Wadley, stopped by Jerome Baker. This is the third time since Urban Meyer took over that he has trailed by 13 points or more at the half. Got to go back to Virginia Tech game in 2014, the Clemson game 1 year ago. Iowa has scored on 4 of their 5 possessions here today as they come out of the locker room. 2nd and 4. Wadley will come up just short of the first down marker. Chris Worley made the stop.
I think one of the real keys for Iowa offensively in that first half is they have avoided the negative plays. They've run 35 plays. Steve, only one of them has been for a negative yardage, and they haven't turned the football over. They have been consistent up front. They've relied on the strength of their offense, which is their offensive line, with James Daniels starting at center. And if they're going to continue to squeeze the life out of this game, they're going to continue to have to depend on that line.
This feels like a big play right here. A minute and 15 into the third quarter. Feels like a big play. Wadley. Oh, it's a big play by Ohio State's defense, led by Jalen Holmes.
You talk about not having Bosa. Jalen Holmes is the guy that's going to have to step up. And we talk about them rushing the passer, but they're also stout against the run. He just pushes back Hawkinson, the tight end, and that brings up a 4th down. Will force a punt. So no Bosa, no worry so far for Ohio State.
Just the 2nd punt of the game for Iowa. Ryan Jasande is back in his own end zone. He'll take his time. And it's a low line drive. They'll take a solid bounce for Iowa. And all KJ Hill can do is gobble it up. But excellent field position for Ohio State on their first possession here in the third quarter.
And we're going to find out about J.T. Barrett. You know, everybody was singing the praises after Penn State came into this game, Steve. 8 games, he'd only thrown 1 interception. He throws 2 bad throws, bad interceptions in the first half of this game, and now it's on him to get this team back in this game, back in the Big Ten title race, back in the college football playoff race. He's got to play better.
Heisman race?
Certainly.
Lots of time. It's all there in front of Ohio State. We'll hand off to J.K. Dobbins, able to break a couple of tackles. And now will be thrown back. See where they mark the forward progress. They haven't marked out at the 46-yard line. So we'll pick up a 4 on the play.
And the common element between the 2 interceptions in the first half were he went through his initial reads and then tried to force something when he didn't see it. And we'll see if he can continue to anticipate and trust his eyes in the second half.
Fakes the pitch and keeping himself. And he'll be swallowed up. Nathan Budgeta there. And a host of other Iowa players. You're not the fashion police. How about those new jerseys for Iowa? Looking sharp.
I love them, yeah.
Kirk Ferentz was fired up about them too, wasn't he?
Not more of a traditionalist. He likes that uni.
It's 3rd and 3. Barrett's got all sorts of time, and it looks like it was deflected and falls incomplete. I think Budgeta might have gotten a piece of that football after Barrett released it.
That's the 2nd time we've seen a deflection from the Iowa defensive front. Trying to go through the reads there and teach that defensive line. It's a great job.
Matt Nelson, fingertips And it was great protection at all sorts of time.
And Nelson goes 6'8". They also have Anthony Nelson, who's 6'7". So that Iowa defensive front's got the length to get a hand on the ball.
Drew Chrisman from his own 40. And it's a fair catch at the 9. So Ohio State had excellent field position, couldn't do anything with it. It's a 3 and out. And you're watching the Big Ten on ESPN. Iowa up 14 early third quarter. They've got the football. They're backed up. How will they move forward offensively calling the game? They've been so successful throwing the football on first down.
Yeah, you look at that. You couldn't be much better. 7 of 10 with 2 touchdowns for Nathan Stanley. And Brian Ferentz knows he's got to keep the pressure on in the second half. You can't just go into a shell and beat Ohio State in this game.
I didn't hear any swearing, by the way, on the way to the elevator at halftime. So I believe Brian has learned his lesson from a week ago. His dad saw to that. First down and 10 from their own 10.
Look at this, an empty set right off the bat.
Stanley comes out firing and completing. First down yardage. It's T.J. Hawkinson.
I thought it was interesting talking to Ferentz, Brian Ferentz, that is. I asked him, you know, it seems like the tendencies, you're breaking them this year, throwing more on first down. He said, you know what, it's been tough for me because I'm a Midwest guy. I grew up watching Bo and Woody, and you know, it's in that old school ground and pound is kind of engraved in me. But working with Belichick for as long as I did, I got to hear so many times, what are we going to do here? Well, do you think they're going to throw? Let's run.
And the opposite. And it's paid off. Bill Belichick says it. It must be so. Here's James Butler, the ball carrier.
Yeah, I think it's the absolute right approach for Brian Ferentz and for this offense. You know, he kept telling us yesterday, we're almost there. You know, we've got really good players. We've got some good foundational stuff. We'll be in position to make a play. Like last week, they ran a downfield pass, and everything worked out perfect. The protection was great. The throw was great. And they had a true freshman, Amir Smith-Marset, who just dropped the ball. It would have been a touchdown, but not only did he drop it, but he deflected it, and the defender picked it off. And that's just kind of how it's been for Iowa so far this year.
2nd and 6. Stanley off the play fake. Across the middle, has a man, and it's a first down. Another first down. Matt Vandenberg on the receiving end. Gain of 18.
And we haven't called Vandenberg's number. That's his first catch. But look at this arm. Look at this throw. Stand in the pocket, confident. That's right on the numbers. Perfectly thrown ball. And it comes back to the protection. This offensive line, we led with 2 freshmen playing at the tackle position. Wirfs and Jackson, they're growing up today.
And Brian, that was the first thing I noticed on that throw. How confident he was standing in there and just trusting his protection. As every successful throw comes, he's gaining more and more confidence.
Here's Stanley with a man in his face. Able to be patient enough to wait for the receiver coming underneath. It's Vandenberg again.
You can start to get the sense, if you're Greg Schiano, about some of the frustration. He's trying to find something. That time he brings Worley, the linebacker, and they play in man coverage behind it. I have rarely seen Greg Schiano have to blitz to get pressure this season because of the great talent they have rushing the passer. But without Bosa, he may be forced to bring a little bit more pressure in this second half.
2nd and 3, just across midfield. With 2 tight ends in there. Quick throw out to the left. Smith-Marset wanted to make a big play there and could not. Brian Ferentz talking about the maturity level of this team. He said, we're kind of like boys. We think we're men. We want to leave the house, go do our thing. Hey, we want to be on our own, but we're still asking Mom to make us the meatloaf. And we're still living with Mom's house. And he said in a couple of years it won't be like that anymore, but that's kind of where the program is, certainly on offense.
Is that the reference to John Clayton then?
Ma! As he's eating his Chinese food.
Will Ferrell.
3rd down and 2. Stanley in trouble, and they look to get rid of it. There is a flag down.
He held on to that one a little bit too long. And that clock, yeah, you got a nice clock in your head, but if something's not open, just pull it down and run with it. Thought he might have been able to get a first down with his feet.
Stanley has not been sacked yet today, and that's saying something against this fierce pass rush for Ohio State.
Looks like the one official has a hat off, which would tell you that somebody went out of bounds. That was definitely not a catch. The ball hit the ground. But what was the penalty?
There is no foul in the play for holding. 4th down.
Pick it up, put it in your pocket. 4th down upcoming.
Yeah, there's no, like, Kirk Ferentz is going to keep his offense on the field. I was going to say, you know, Kirk Ferentz historically punt this ball, give as much grass to your defense as you possibly can, up 2 touchdowns. Why would you want to give him an opportunity to get the ball with explosive offense of Ohio State here at midfield?
If they actually snap this, that would be quite a statement.
Could be a pooch punt too. He's in a little bit of a deeper set.
There you go, Grease. Not your first rodeo. And it'll bounce into the end zone. You're good, Grease. You're good.
I used to be a bad punter too. Eliminate the rush. You know, but you know, if you're too close, this could go off the back of one of your offensive linemen.
Never a doubt.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by Wendy's fresh, never frozen beef hamburgers, the official hamburger of the NCAA.
Back in Iowa City, can't help but look back to what happened a week ago, with the Buckeyes in a somewhat similar position now here today.
Yeah,
JT Barrett, what he's done. And of course, the difference you pointed out before, they're on the road today.
On the road.
Hostile environment. They're not going to get any help here.
And JT Barrett, those 2 turnovers are big, looming large in this game. If they're going to get where they want to go, it's going to be because of JT Barrett throwing the ball, in my opinion.
Well, running the ball, here's Barrett. Gain of 3. Flag comes down back at the line of scrimmage. Check the marker.
They're going to get Michael Jordan, the left guard, for a hold. It's going to back him up inside their 10-yard line.
Holding. Offense. Number 73. 10-yard penalty. 1st down.
That is Michael Jordan. Nathan Bajada is down on the field. And Budget has been so important for Iowa. And he lays in a prone position. Well, Budget gets attended to. We can tell you that tonight should be another classic matchup. Virginia Tech against Miami, 8 p.m. Eastern, ABC streaming live on the ESPN apps. Both teams debuting at their highest rankings in the college football playoffs brief history when they came out, 13-10. Look forward to Tuesday night and the latest projections.
You know, I think a big key for Ohio State in this second half, why not go back to throwing the ball down the field? You have a clear mismatch with the speed of like Johnny Dixon on the safeties of Iowa. The 2 touchdowns JT has already in this game, both deep throws. Why not go back to that in this situation when you know you have that mismatch in the second half?
Here's Barrett to take off. Cross the 15. He'll take some hits and get out to the 20-yard line. That possession was important for Iowa. Remember, they started that last drive from their own 10. Able to flip the field and get Ohio State all the way backed up deep inside their own territory.
Well, and possessions begin to have more and more urgency and immediacy of having success for Ohio State, because Iowa has controlled the football when they've had it on offense, and they'll try to do the same.
Play fake. Barrett throwing on the run and completing the Johnny Dixon out to the 24. Dixon's a guy who's been bothered by tendonitis in both of his knees for parts of 3 years. Thought he wasn't going to come back. Thought he had enough, and it was Paris Campbell who talked him into staying. Hang around, and it's certainly been worth it. Of course, Campbell is back home watching on television, did not travel today. Here's 3rd and 5. Barrett trying to tug at him and finally bring him down short of the marker. Matt Nelson got to him.
Great job by Parker Hesse, making his 30th start on this Iowa defensive line. Coming from the left side, number 40 with a spin move on Jamarco Jones. I like that adjustment from Hesse. If a guy goes out of the first half injured with a knee, why wouldn't you come with a speed move and a spin? And he gets to the quarterback, J.T. Barrett, and forces the 4th down.
Here's Drew Christman, I beg your pardon. We are 50 days away from Christmas. And a fair catch is called at the 21-yard line. So Ohio State trailing by 14. All important possessions. They go 3 and out in their last 2 possessions. Feeling the pressure as we move on. See 54 in white in the middle. That's Billy Price, the outstanding center for Ohio State. Urban Meyer said he's one of the best centers he's ever been around, and that's saying something because Coach Meyer's had great centers over his coaching career.
Somebody's got a lot of fire on that sideline, right? You cannot continue. The last 4 possessions, 0 points for this Ohio State offense, and Billy Price trying to get his guys up front fired up.
Again, interesting to see how Iowa will call this offensively. Should they come out throwing again on 1st down? And incomplete. Looking to go to Smith-Marset. Excellent coverage again from Denzel Ward.
Well, I don't know why you wouldn't come out throwing on 1st down if you're Brian Ferentz. I would have complete trust in Nate Stanley. The way that he's played in this game gives you no reason not to trust him in the 2nd half. And you got to finish, right? They've talked about that as a team. We talked about it with them yesterday. They've been in positions and they just haven't been able to finish games. And with that stat line, why wouldn't you throw it?
So we're not trying to run the clock. There's still too much time to start worrying about running down the clock and running the football.
You got to score points.
Okay. Up 14, 6 to play, quarter number 3. Number 6 in big trouble. Stanley's throwing again. Looked like off a hand, and then a flag comes late. Pass interference. You saw the expression from Chris Worley.
Pass interference, defense, number 35, 15-yard penalty, automatic 1st down.
One of the adjustments Greg Schiano has made is play 2 deep and man underneath. And right here is the matchup with Worley on the tight end Hawkinson. I like the adjustment from Schiano to take away tight ends and the underneath throws, but the execution from Worley, you just can't get your hands on the tight end.
7th penalty to go against the Bucks. 5 of the 7 for 10 yards or more. Ball out at the 37. Akram Wadley for a few. Worley makes the tackle there. Have to give you your props, Grease. Nate Stanley, the 4th down play, the pooch punt. Thought I was standing next to Tony Romo there for a second. Predicting plays before they happen. Very impressive. How many times did you punt in college?
Yeah, pooch punt. Well, I love the pooch punt because you keep the regular defense on the field and there's no rush.
It was a 47-yard punt by Stanley officially.
Plus, you can use a hard count.
Net of 27. And here's Stanley on the run, showing off some more skills and able to complete just shy of midfield. It's Nick Easley, Todd.
You don't see a lot of that. Stanley throwing on the run that way. And I'm just right behind him looking from his vantage point on that throw. You could not have placed that ball any better. This guy's dealing right now.
Sounds like a guy who could be on the big board here soon.
Yeah, slow down.
That was a great catch, too, by Easley. It looked like that ball may have come out, but nonetheless, they give it to him.
1st and 10, just across midfield. Wadley staying on his feet, making people miss. Akram Wadley, what a run in a play. Sort of the story of the game right there.
Just let this run sink in and appreciate the skills of Akram Wadley. 1, 2, 3, 4, and these are just normal everyday defenders. This is Ohio State defense who pretty good.
22-yard run for Akram Wadley. He's over 100 for the game. 4.5 to play in the 3rd. And Stanley will be taken down. Bit of a sandwich. Tyquan Lewis was there for Ohio State, and Tracy Sprinkle. Again, with the loss of Bosa, If you have to lose a player that talent, that would be the position because they are so deep, the Buckeyes are there.
Yeah, certainly are. And some people, they ask me a lot, well, why is it so important to throw the ball on first down? And you see the beneficiary of Akram Wadley, getting some looks, in the run game, and that's all because of the success throwing the ball on first down. But if you throw the ball on first down and you take a sack and get in second and 13, 14, then you're in trouble.
That was the first time they were able to sack Stanley all afternoon. It's second and 13, across the middle. And it's Wadley, able to get back a lot of the lost yardage from the sack. Third catch of the afternoon.
So if I'm going to be real smart right here if I'm Nate Stanley. Third in this situation, I love using a hard count. He told us he liked to use a hard count last night because you could get a cheap one. But no turnovers here because you have a field goal in your back pocket to go up 17.
Stanley to throw. And it was in and out. Nearly hooking up with Brandon Smith. He could not hang on. Damon Arnett had the coverage, able to knock it free.
And Arnett was all over the back of Brandon Smith. Not sure why Brandon Smith became the target there on a huge third down. He hasn't been targeted all game, and he's a true freshman.
Has just 3 catches on the entire season.
Trickeration here from Kirk Ferentz. It's out of character.
From the 20. On fourth down. And the pass is caught. Colin Rousteller threw the ball. Down to the goal line, the trickeration. And that was his snapper, Tyler Kluver, on the receiving end. That ball hung up forever.
It didn't look so hot in the air. But Kluver, give him credit. That ball's hung in the air just to come up with it.
And it couldn't stay on his feet.
Wow. This is not the MO for Kirk Ferentz. He is by the book, doesn't like a whole lot of trickery, but give him credit. At the right time against the right team, they convert.
First and goal. Play fake. Stanley, they got him wrapped around the legs. Back of the end zone. Caught. Touchdown. It's Hawkinson. It's all going right for the Hawkeyes. Extra point is through. Fourth touchdown pass for Nate Stanley. It's the most points they have ever scored against Ohio State.
Got to give credit. This coaching staff has given Iowa a chance to win. They're not playing not to lose. They are playing to win this game. And they've done it time and time again here at Kinnick. And they're in great position now here approaching the end of the third quarter.
So we had a chance to visit at the Children's Hospital across the way from the stadium. Met one special kid, 9-year-old by the name of Sam, who on Thursday had brain surgery. And there's Sam. We met with him yesterday. We asked him what he was hoping for. He said, obviously, an Iowa win. But he said he wanted them to win on a fake field goal. On a fake field goal, he wanted them to win. And his dad comes up with the line of the day and says, just remember who our coach is. Speaking of the conservative nature of Kirk Ferentz, and there it is.
Sam, you are the best, buddy. You called it. Hopefully you're listening to this. That was
Sam,
awesome,
please tell me you're watching right now, man. Good for you.
I got chills.
Me too. Me too. This is some kind of scene here in Iowa.
What are the odds of that?
Fake field goal. And that might be the difference in the game to win it. Iowa has scored 21 unanswered points. And you're trying to have some perspective here and put it into play. And you don't want to go overboard based on what happened a week ago and the miracle comeback. A comeback for the ages, one they haven't seen in Columbus in many, many years. People said they would never forget J.T. Barrett's effort. And here they are. They find themselves down by 21 points here in the third quarter.
Well, they got their work cut out for it. They can't afford to waste any more possessions in the rest of this game, because Iowa has really, success of their offense has squeezed the life out of this game. They're eating up the clock every time they get the ball.
Here's Barrett to throw, take a shot deep. He's got a man. It's Terry McLaurin. And he can't come down with it. McLaurin was on the receiving end of an early touchdown pass. Could not get to that one. Manny Rugamba able to knock it away.
If Ohio State is going to get back, and I mentioned this on the last drive, it's going to be these deep throws. Take some shots down the field. And I know that has been the bugaboo for Ohio State. Can they throw the ball successfully down the field to get back into a game? But that's where the matchup and the mismatch is for Ohio State.
Barrett's going to keep it. He's taken a lot of shots running the football today. Barrett has carried the ball 13 times already for 63 yards, Grease.
Josie Jewell. I mean, what a career he's had for Iowa. And he's been all over the field in this game. And he's got a bead on J.T. Barrett. If I was Phil Parker, I would tell Josie Jewell to track 16 the rest of this game.
Here's 3rd and 10. Barrett all sorts of time. It's knocked out at the line of scrimmage. Batted down by A.J. Epenesa. Epenesa makes the play.
He had a receiver downfield. Watch, Epenesa comes from the left, and he's trying to get the ball to Ball, the tight end. He's wide open. Would have been a conversion for a first down, and Epenesa gets up at 6'5", 270 pounds, and that's the 3rd tipped ball at the line of scrimmage.
Epenesa, whose dad, Epi Epenesa, played for Iowa back in the late 90s. They think he's a special player. He's got some special skills. And that is the third and out in the quarter by Ohio State.
We've seen this kind of a comeback just last week. Just to reiterate, it didn't start well for Ohio State. Gave up the 2 touchdowns, down 14-0, down 15 to start of the 4th quarter. But I think the difference, they were at home, right? And their quarterback was confident. This has a different feel to it, Steve.
They were at home, and this is 21 points. This is not 15 anymore.
21 points in a hostile environment with a quarterback that is not feeling it right now. That last throw would have been a touchdown, a little bit underthrown. So it just feels different.
Are they throwing on first down again? No. They'll run the football here for now. James Butler. And at some point, the clock will come into play. Still with 90 seconds left here in the 3rd quarter.
And then the other question, forget about the question about J.T. Barrett and scoring a point. Can this defense stop Iowa's offense? I mean, who would have thought coming into this game, Iowa came in averaging 25 points a game, but this is one of the top defenses in college football in the Big Ten, where they scored 38 before the 4th quarter started. They haven't been able to get them off the field.
Amazing. We thought this game would be decided by Ohio State's defensive front against the offensive line of Iowa. Maybe it has been, and it's working for the Hawkeyes. James Butler, he's running away from people, and he'll be stopped inside the 5 by Damon Webb. It's all going Iowa's way.
This offensive line is coming off the ball. They're running that zone scheme to the right, and great vision from Tuff Borland. Tuff Borland, the linebacker, overruns it, and great vision from Butler to cut back. It's all working right now for Iowa.
And how about doing it with 2 offensive tackles that are freshmen? Alaric Jackson, number 77, Tristan Wirfs, number 74. They have controlled the line of scrimmage.
That's over 400 yards of offense, and we haven't played the 4th quarter yet. First down and goal, we get some whistles.
Yeah, Kirk Ferentz going to take a timeout here. He didn't like the
timeout. Iowa, they're first.
And zeros on the play clock.
30-second timeout.
Yeah, Todd, to your point, you know, 2 freshmen playing at the tackle positions. They didn't want to play those guys. Ike Butker and Boone Myers were scheduled to be the starting tackles this season for Iowa. They both got hurt, and 2 freshmen are inserted. Now, those 2 guys are talented. It's not like they're just not talented playing at the freshman. Alaric Jackson and Tristan Wirfs, they have high ceilings, and they're really excited about them here at Iowa. It's just that they didn't have the experience.
What is going on here today? All-State is proud to be part of a team that comes together to do good by contributing to participating universities' general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kick. To date, All-State has contributed millions in scholarship funds. Final 11 seconds left of the 3rd quarter. Is that Larry? Looks like Larry. First down and goal. Iowa trying to add to their lead. Handoff. It's Butler. He'll be stopped well short of the goal line. James Butler, guy who missed 3 weeks of the season, a graduate transfer from Nevada, had the big run to put him in this spot. Something is brewing at Kinnick Stadium. As we go to the 4th, you're watching college football on ESPN, presented by PlayStation View. The National Championship Trophy, presented by Dr. Pepper. And it's in attendance here at Kinnick Stadium, where some of the big boys come to fall. And Ohio State would qualify as a big boy, 6th in the country. They trail by 21. As we open up quarter number 4, Steve Levy, Brian Greasy, Todd McShay, and our outstanding crew. 2nd and goal. Iowa State looking to add some more. Off the play fake. Stanley throwing forward. It's caught. Touchdown. It's Drake Kulik out of the backfield. '28 unanswered points by Iowa.
This one was Dante Booker, the linebacker who had coverage in the flat on Kulik. He knew his assignment, then he second-guessed himself and gave up the touchdown.
Extra point on the way. Kulik is a senior, a former walk-on. He graduated in the spring. Gotta believe that's the first touchdown of his career.
So take a look. Watch Booker. He's right here. Watch him halfway in. He knows he has Kulik in the flat. He's running with him, and then he's going to look back right there. For some reason, just second-guessed himself, and that gave the lane for Kulik. You know, I can't help it. I go back and I say, you know, Ohio State defensively, they played all these spread teams, right? And how in the world is Iowa going to come on and surprise them and score 45 points in 3 quarters? And I think this defense was not ready to play against this pro style of offense. And give credit to Brian Ferentz. He has called an unbelievable game, throwing the ball on first down. He's kept Greg Schiano and this defense off balance all game.
He could look happier considering the score. Dad's going to be okay with everything you did today so far to this point. Wow. And what are they thinking about in Columbus right now? What do they watch from watching from long distance? What has happened to these Buckeyes?
I think they were afraid of this, right? They were afraid of the letdown after the emotional win from a week ago. How could you not have a letdown? And this has been a colossal letdown.
Mike Weber from the 3. Out ahead of the 22. There's a flag. Adnan Verk is standing by. We'll have an update. So many other amazing things going on in college football today.
Holding, receiving team, number 1, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Adnan, it's all yours.
All right, Lise, thank you. You're not kidding. There is a lot of great action right now, including Clemson and NC State over on ABC. This is Tavion Feaster going 89 yards, the number 4 team in the country, as Clemson has now opened up a 10-point lead against the Wolfpack. They are just underway in the fourth quarter of play. And also of note is Penn State and Michigan State. Good game right now in the Big Ten, as you can see. It's 24-21. Penn State has the lead. Leaves.
All right, Dan, thank you. They say you remember the games in November. And they're watching this game, but the Penn State-Michigan State game for sure. Here's Barrett. On the move, throwing down the sideline. He had a man, Terry McLaurin, and he just overthrew him. And a flag comes in late. He crossed the line of scrimmage before throwing the football.
Boy, Urban's got to be shocked. I mean, he was vigilant all week for any kind of letdown.
Illegal forward pass. Offense, number 16 was beyond the line of scrimmage. 5-yard penalty. Lost it down. Second down.
And we were talking with Urban last night, and one of the quotes this week is he said, if I sense any kind of deviation in preparation or any kind of sense of letdown from my players or my coaches,
on the field,
he said,
the passer was beyond the line of scrimmage. The play's under further review.
He said it'd be like an atomic bomb went off here. Like, that he would go ballistic. And he didn't have any sense of that this week when we talked with him. He didn't think that there was any deviation from that preparation, but it certainly has showed up here tonight on the field.
We asked Urban, we asked Kevin Wilson, we asked Greg Schiano, and all three honestly seem insulted that we were even broaching that subject, that could even happen to this team. And I don't know how else you explain what we're seeing today. JT Barrett is just 1 for his last 7. Ohio State, they have no first downs in the second half. We would not be surprised. This is a close game. We'd be a little surprised that Iowa would be leading at this point. Have to be totally shocked. They're leading 45-17 in the fourth.
Well, and so we talked about Ohio State and the letdown that has come in this game, but you got to credit Iowa too. I mean, they could not have played better in the first 3 quarters.
After further review, the passer was not completely beyond the line of scrimmage. There is no foul on the play. And a second down at the 13-yard line.
They review that call. Your whole body has to be past the line of scrimmage for that to be an illegal pass, and didn't look like his right foot was still on the line of scrimmage. So that's the least of Ohio State's worries at this point.
Amazing. JT Barrett has completed just 9 passes to this point. Dixon in motion. 2nd and 10 back. All sorts of time. Now he'll launch it, and it is intercepted. Josh Jackson ripped that ball away. His 2nd pick of the game. 3rd interception thrown by Barrett today.
All 3 JT Barrett interceptions tonight have been on his 3rd read, and he's been late. You see him, he's looking left, and that worked for him last week against Penn State. But you can't throw late over the middle, and that ball is late, and Josh Jackson has read him for the 2nd time in this game. The knock on JT, as good as he played last week, the knock on him has been that he telegraphs his throws, that he doesn't see defenses as well as he should. And that time he tried to flip the field and throw it in, and that's what's going to happen. You're going to have interception.
Iowa will take over, looking to add to their lead. On the ground, Wadley the ball carrier. 14.5 to go here in the fourth quarter. And again, you can't see this enough. JT Barrett coming in had thrown 1 interception all season. Today, as the fourth quarter starts, he's got 3.
Well, look, you're looking at a warrior right there. There's no question in my mind. It's one of the best competitors I've seen in college football in a long time. And tonight has not been his night. There's no question about it. But that doesn't take away everything that he's done. But this is going to be a bitter pill to swallow. And I can't believe I'm saying that at the start of the fourth quarter. We're crying out loud. But I don't know how Ohio State comes back from it.
2nd and 5. Wadley again. They'll come up just short of the marker. Malik Harrison made the stop. This would greatly impact the college football playoff rankings. On Tuesday, the exclusive reveal at 7 p.m. and every Tuesday going forward. Nate Stanley able to hang on. Should have first down yardage on the 3rd and 1. Reese and the guys would break it down. You expected a shakeup. We expect a shakeup every Saturday. There are always going to be upsets. Could not have seen this coming. Not by this margin.
No, I thought that, you know, if this game was going to be won by Iowa, it would be on the last-second field goal time.
I just look at how important this game is in the big picture. I mean, Ohio State just kind of wrestled away control of the Big Ten. And a loss here kind of opens things back up and could, quite honestly, put the Big Ten in jeopardy of not being in the college football playoffs in the Final Four.
Yeah,
Michigan State is involved right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Big Ten was in jeopardy even if Ohio State had won this game, right? And it's because Wisconsin hasn't played anybody, so nobody believes that Wisconsin could potentially be a Final Four team. And the fact that Ohio State lost to Oklahoma, and if Oklahoma wins, then there's going to be that natural barrier to Ohio State getting in. So certainly this is not a good development for the Big Ten and their chances. Plus, Wisconsin would have needed a Ohio State that's highly ranked to beat them. Yeah, to beat them in the Big Ten championship to have a chance to get in.
If Michigan State wins and beats Penn State, and that would also create major chaos.
Oh, and Notre Dame's a factor too. I would not come from a conference, being an independent.
Timeout. Iowa. They're 2nd.
Asked Urban Meyer about that, right? About the ranking. How'd you feel about being ranked 6th in the initial college football playoff rankings? And he said, hey, there's still a lot of football to be played. These things tend to sort themselves out. That's what he said to us yesterday.
I thought one of the top 4 might go down today. You know, Wake Forest I thought would give Notre Dame a little bit more of a struggle. NC State still has a chance.
Now you say that, Greasy, huh?
None of them are winning, Todd.
Today's college football rankings brought to you by Allstate.
They're going to review the last play that Nathan Stanley quarterback sneak to see if he got the line to gain and a first down. Trying to get to the 12. We're about the 12. I don't know. Those things are so hard to tell. Even if they don't get this first down, right? They're up 28. If you attempt a field goal to go up 31 with 13 and a half left in this game, I just don't know how Ohio State comes back from that.
For all the talk about how explosive they are, not explosive enough.
They're not explosive when you take away the balance, right? The running game. If they have to just throw the ball, they're not as explosive because they don't have the kinds of receivers. And frankly, J.T. Barrett hasn't proven that he can throw the ball well enough in this game anyway to come back from this.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. 4th down. This was a replay. There is no timeout charged to Iowa.
Hawkeyes will look to extend their lead. Miguel Recinos, already good once from 30. Out of the hole of Colton Rastetter. This time Rastetter will just put it on the ground and hold it. And Recinos boots it through. Making 31 unanswered points by Iowa. That's just the latest interception. The last of 3 thrown by J.T. Barrett so far today. Ohio State's going to have a lot of questions to answer. They could start with the Aflac trivia question. Who holds the Big Ten record for most consecutive completions in a single game?
Let's go with him. I guess it would be Drew Brees.
That's an excellent guess.
Pretty accurate guy.
You wouldn't be on that list?
Ryan Greasy?
No, no, pretty sure not on that list.
Was it 4? Is it the most 4 for you?
Easy.
7?
What's your guess?
Your dad.
Oh, now you're really stretching.
You want to tell the people what he sent you the message today?
Best food in the business up here at the Iowa press box.
Indeed. Ohio State another crack with the football. Another chance for Ad Danver.
That's right, Steve. Updating you on Clemson and NC State. Action in the fourth quarter. The Tigers up by 10. Ryan Finley to Jacoby Myers after that fake pitch gets him the touchdown. But Finley was just intercepted, so Clemson is a 3-point lead. And also, Arkansas is a 25.5-point favorite against Coastal Carolina. They're down by 6. Coastal Carolina is reclassified, not even an FBS school. It's craziness, Leaves.
It is craziness, and we wouldn't have it any other way. Coastal Carolina in the house. Even at 1-7. Why wouldn't they go to Arkansas and play well? Barrett to throw. And even that pass just behind Marcus Ball. He couldn't haul it in.
Yeah, and J.T. Barrett is shook right now. And how could you not be? You know, anytime you throw this many interceptions, you start to second guess yourself. And in your head, it's so hard to overcome that. Not to mention the points, which the largest comeback in school history. They're down by 31. Came back.
This game was tied at 17. Long time ago. 2nd and 10. Like a piece of a face mask on Barrett. There are flags down.
There's a definite face mask. I think the first flag that came out might have been a hold, though.
Epinesa was in the neighborhood. We'll check for it.
Holding, offense, number 73, personal foul, face mask, defense, penalties offset, replay 2nd down.
We got Michael Jordan, the left guard, for the hold, and then a very clear face mask on J.T. Barrett. It's a good call. He's holding Epinesa, and then Epinesa gets a hold of the face mask.
So we'll replay the down, 2nd down and 10. Here's Barrett stepping up and firing to Johnny Dixon. They'll try to make a move. He's got the 1st down. And that is the first down of the half for Ohio State.
No points in the last 7 possessions for Ohio State. This is an offense that came in on fire.
Barrett on the run to Weber. And a tremendous tackle. Can't get out of the grasp of Ben Neiman. We'll answer our Aflac trivia question. We asked who holds the Big Ten record for most consecutive completions in a single game. How about Chuck Long? Here, Iowa, 22 in a row. October 27th, 1984 against Indiana. Barrett throwing and completing to Dobbins, who sidestepped what would have been a big hit.
When you think about how well this Iowa defense has played against Ohio State's offense today, and Ohio State offensively came in 42% of their offensive plays either ended up in a touchdown or a first down. You think about that, right? And they've gone so far in this second half. Just there was the first down of the second half for them, and Urban Meyer doesn't have a whole lot of answers.
At midfield, Barrett, quick screen out to Dobbins. And he's into Hawkeye territory. Josie Jewell forced him out.
I think one of the most surprising aspects of this is just how much we've seen Barrett progress from early in the year. Ryan Day, the quarterback coach, has done a terrific job. Urban Meyer's singing his praises all this past week. He's been throwing with more anticipation and looks more confident throwing the football coming into today. And all of a sudden, it's like he reverted back.
Throwing downfield. That was closer to a Hawkeye than a Buckeye. KJ Hill was the intended target, and instead Jake Gervais was closer to the football.
Well, Todd, one of the things I noticed about J.T. Barrett in this offense in particular is they asked the quarterback to read the full field. So he'll start on one side of the field, and then if those two guys aren't open, he'll flip all the way to the other side of the field. And while last week that opened up some lanes in the middle of the field against Penn State, tonight it's been the opportunity for this defense for Iowa to get interceptions.
Only 2 third-down conversions all game for Ohio State. Make it 3. That's KJ Hill.
When you do that, it takes so much time from a quarterback, and defenses are reading your eyes, yes, but also it's not allowing receivers to get the kind of separation that you need to throw the ball successfully.
Barrett able to knock a defender away and hook up with Marcus Baugh for a short pickup. No one had been hotter. Well, I beg your pardon. Arizona's Khalil Tate had been better than J.T. Barrett, but he's the only one. The last 6 games coming into this one, Barrett had completed 75% of his passes, 22 touchdowns, no interceptions. And actually, Tate's been better over the last 6. He'll play tonight on ESPN against USC. And then this clunker comes out of nowhere.
You wondered if some of it was fool's gold, though, with the competition they had played prior to Penn State. But then when he goes out and has the performance he has, especially in the last 3 quarters, then you start to really believe it.
Well, we ran down their victories on the season earlier, and outside of that Penn State, nothing to brag about. On 3rd and 1, Barrett underneath, able to complete to C.J. Saunders, his first catch, and there's a first down. Saunders a walk-on, makes the grab.
The fact you're throwing the ball to C.J. Saunders, right? What does that tell you about your receiving core and the reliability? Just have not been there tonight.
Ohio State returns next week. They'll be at home against Michigan State. Barrett had another ball batted down at the line of scrimmage. Brady Reef got his hands on it that time. They might wear these new-look uniforms every game going forward, home and away.
Reef is the younger brother of Riley Reef, the great offensive tackle for the Iowa Hawkeyes, getting some playing time. This Iowa defense, man, they have been all over the place. That's the 4th or 5th batted ball on J.T. Barrett. Clearly, that was a point of emphasis for them this week, getting their hands up.
But there was the magic number, the turnovers. 3-0, Iowa. Oh, what a play! Make it 4-0 Iowa! Josh Jackson, hat trick! 3 interceptions. There is a flag. We'll check the marker. What an athletic interception.
Holding. Offense. Number 78. Phillies decline. Jones plays a touchback. First down, Iowa.
Oh, this is one of the better interceptions you will see all year in college football. Josh Jackson came into this game leading the country in passes broken up, and he goes up high to snatch one, and may have just snatched the life out of Ohio State's season.
Jackson, a guy the coaching staff said needs to turn all those tips and deflections into interceptions and picks. He has today. He's got 3.
ESPN College Football is presented by PlayStation Vue. Watch the biggest moments in sports. Try it free today. And in part by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Reese's. Perfect.
Josh Jackson came in leading Iowa with interceptions with 2 of them. It's going to be hard for somebody to catch him on his own team now. He's got 5 on the afternoon.
This is just unbelievable. Great athletic play.
Aren't guys like who can make catches like that supposed to be wide receivers? Don't they always say if you could catch the ball, that's why they're defensive backs, because they can't make that catch.
Yeah.
How's your hard count? And things about to get a little testy here now. You would think frustration would boil over for Ohio State. This should not come as a surprise.
Nope.
With Iowa backed up to their own 1.
Offside. Defense. Number 86. 5-yard penalty. First down.
You know, you see the lack of concentration and focus. A defensive lineman should never jump off sides in this position of the field. You know, right, that there's no reason that the offense shouldn't go on a hard count here. They have nothing to lose. So you know, and then there's a little jab there from Smith-Marset, yeah. But it's been throughout the Ohio State team tonight, from J.T. Barrett all the way down.
9 penalties on the Buckeyes. Penalties were already an issue coming in. The 8th most penalty yards in the FBS. That number's going to go up. Check in with that, Ned Burke.
All right, Leaves, thank you very much. PlayStation View, Multi-View. West Virginia is still leading Iowa State, although the Cyclones have come back. It's now 20-16 with 2:46 left. That's on ESPN2, and a great game on ABC. Clemson Tigers currently leading NC State by 10, 3:40 left in that one. Back to Kinnick Stadium, and what a result you got there, Leaves.
Options, lots of options out there. And this will go down as a head scratcher for sure.
Boy, we mentioned it earlier in the broadcast, the state of Iowa and the football teams, right? The Cyclones and Hawkeyes. What a story Iowa State's been, and what a story tonight.
Handoff, James Butler for a few, and they'll start to grind some of this clock down with 8:45 left here in the 4th quarter. And the outcome here no longer in doubt. What does this do for Ohio State big picture? Again, the playoff being what it is, but it would be their first loss in conference.
Yeah, they still have the Big Ten Conference. Obviously, a big game against Michigan State next week. And then obviously the game against Michigan at the end of the year. But the motivation, that's what you start to wonder about. You know, they took so much energy out of that win last week against Penn State. And will they have the energy to rebound after this loss and play Michigan State? That'll be a challenge.
3rd and 1. Got the first down, James Butler. And listen, let's not fall into the trap, because I think nationally this will be perceived as all about Ohio State getting their doors blown off here at Kinnick, when the other side of the story is how impressive Iowa has been today. And the narrative should not take away from the Hawkeyes' unbelievable effort here.
No, and the thing that's impressive about what Kurt Ferentz and this team have done tonight is they're doing it with a lot of young players. And talking with them last night, especially with Brian Ferentz, you know, the 2 tackles being freshmen. Nate Stanley's in his first year as a quarterback starting, just a true sophomore. And they've got 2 true freshmen playing at the receiver position. A lot of young players here that'll still be playing here next year, 2 years from now.
And I know they're working on James Daniels' youngest brother, who's 11. So that's really young. Brian Ferentz said he was hoping he'd be around to be able to coach him. This would be tough for the Daniels family, I would think.
Yeah,
there's LaShawn.
There's LaShawn Daniels. LaShawn's got, obviously, James's older brother, LaShawn Jr.
Yes,
played here as a running back. And
Dad,
great family lines, yeah.
Dad at Ohio State.
Yep. Mom at Ohio State. She ran track at Ohio State. So, but James came here because LaShawn was here. Yeah. He wanted to come to Iowa and play with his brother, and boy, he has been one heck of a center for Iowa, and he's going to play a long time at the next level.
And they're Ohio guys.
Ball start. Offense, number 77. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Ohio family, so you know the Buckeyes went hard after James Daniel in the recruiting battle, and They lost that one like they're going to lose this one here. Tonight, 1:45 a.m. You'll be up at 1:45 a.m.?
Nope.
Okay. It'll be Sports Center for those of you that will. It'll be a great Sports Center with everything going on in college football. The breakdown, how Bedlam impacts the college playoff race. Herbie will reveal his new top 4. What's going on with Saquon Barkley after last week and after this week? Linda and Stan have you on Sports Center from Los Angeles, also streaming live on the ESPN app. Second down and 11. It's Butler.
He fumbled that ball. It came back to him. He got lucky.
That's kind of the way the day has gone.
Yeah.
For Iowa, it's all going their way. And it's amazing because the game started out, so Barrett throws the pick 6 on the opening snap and then settles down, and things did calm down. And Ohio State was able to move, and you thought that pick 6 would be a footnote. We'd mention it once, to be part of the highlight package, and Ohio State would go on to victory and figure things out. And it's been the exact opposite of that.
Yeah, and I think, you know, in the big win last week against Penn State, what was glossed over for Ohio State was how bad they played at the beginning of that game. The mistakes that they made, the turnovers that they had, the breakdowns on special teams, and everybody just kind of glossed over that. But those mistakes reared their ugly head again tonight, and they were not able to overcome it on the road.
Bring up a 4th down with 5.5 to play. And again, that's why Urban Meyer, they asked him about the ranking, says a lot of football will be played. This will be sorted out, and he did not expect this to be sorted out this way. Ryan Gersonde is back at his goal line. Look at Gersonde. He's going to take off. Oh, it's Rosteller, I beg your pardon. Terry McLaurin made the stop, preventing him from getting the first down, but Colton Rastetter was throwing a pass, trying to run for a first down there. You're watching college football on ESPN, presented by PlayStation View. You're watching college football on ESPN. For State, 48-17. You heard Pepper's championship drive game of the week. Ohio State will take over in excellent field position after the failed fake punt. Barrett to throw. End zone. Johnny Dixon. Touchdown, Buckeyes.
This is the same play they scored on twice against Penn State. They do a little switch release with the receivers, trying to get man coverage off, and then they insert a fast receiver into the middle of the field against a 2-deep defense. They tried to run it initially earlier. You see this receiver comes up underneath. They beat Manny Bowen a week ago, and Jason Kabinda for Penn State. Josie Jewell knocked it away earlier in the game, but he's not in the game anymore.
Extra point on the way. That touchdown by the Buckeyes will make the final score look a little better. It snaps a 31-point unanswered run by the Hawkeyes.
Adnan Burke back in our college football studios, updating you on this finish. Penn State, Michigan State. That's Matt Coughlin from 34 yards out. It's good. So if Ohio State loses, they and Penn State both have 2 losses. Wisconsin, the only unbeaten team. Everybody else in the Big Ten has some flaws. 27-24. Sparty on. A huge win. And next week they got Ohio State. Leaves?
Wow, that will be something to watch next week. How Ohio State will bounce back from this one. We wondered how Ohio State would follow up that tremendous comeback a week ago, and we got our answer. Onside kick is recovered cleanly by Iowa. Take a look at today's Capital One pivotal performance.
Yeah, and it's the 4 interceptions for Iowa. The first pass of the game, and then Josh Jackson 3 times. Their hat trick, really the difference in the game. And all 3 of them, really, 2 of them were great reads, and then this one just a great athletic play from Josh Jackson, who has burst onto the scene. First-year starter here for the Hawkeyes, and he's become a lockdown corner.
4.5 to play here. 48-24. Hawkeyes leading Buckeyes.
We see what's happened here today to Ohio State, and now Penn State goes down. And college football, right? You can't underestimate, what an emotional game like that last week, 39-38, what it takes out of a team and what it takes out of these young kids as players. And both Penn State and Ohio State weren't able to show up this week to follow it up. And this is going to put, in my opinion, this puts the Big Ten in danger of not making the playoff. And I know you can talk about Wisconsin, undefeated Wisconsin, but as it stands right now, Wisconsin doesn't have a team on their schedule that's even ranked in the college football playoff top 25.
It'll be hard to argue for
and
that.
there has not been in 3 years, there has not been a team make that Final Four without at least 3 top 25 wins.
Breaking free is Torrin Young. Getting big plays from everyone. Torrin Young, just his second carry of the night. Damon Arnett saved the touchdown.
And this offensive line has done it all game. James Daniels again gets the block there on Tough Borland. Kirk Ferentz gets in the locker room. They need to walk up to this offensive line and give them all a game ball.
34-yard run for Torrin Young.
Ross Reynolds there, left guard. James Daniels, Sean Welsh, who's been the Swiss Army knife, plays all 5 positions at right guard, and then the 2 freshmen attack.
It's Young again. They were getting tired of all these 17-10 games that Iowa's been playing, winning and losing. This looks nothing like a 17-10 game. 3 of the last 4 games for Iowa, that's been the final score. They've been on the wrong side of a couple of them. They have not seen a 48-24 over a 6th-ranked opponent in a long, long time.
And this Iowa team, they go on the road and play Wisconsin next week, and there's no telling that Wisconsin's going to be able to beat this Iowa team. This team looks impressive tonight.
On the ground with Torrin Young.
These 2 teams haven't played since 2013. Right?
Yep.
And that's kind of the quirks of the divisions of the Big Ten. And after tonight, I don't think Ohio State wants to see Iowa again for quite some time. 48 points.
Yeah. Last time Ohio State came to Kinnick was back in 2010. Actually, we asked Urban Meyer what he remembers about his last visit. He hadn't been here since he was a graduate assistant coach in 1986. And what he remembered Chris Carter making an unbelievable catch. And remember the fans being close enough to touch their shoulder pads. It's only a slight exaggeration. And breaking free is Torrin Young. Piling on now is Iowa as they crack the 50 mark against the mighty Buckeyes.
Statement there. We're going to run it. You know it. Doesn't matter. We're going to continue to run it. Ran it right down their throats for 50 yards of offense, all on the ground. And that's all about want to. And Ohio State is laid down. You wonder. Ohio State lost 31-0 in the semifinal against Clemson a year ago. Everybody had questions about the offense. Everybody had questions about the future. And this is the kind of game, this is the kind of beatdown that makes people like Urban Meyer begin to think, do I have the right approach? Am I going in the right direction? He made a bunch of changes, brought in Kevin Wilson, Ryan Day on offense, and it hasn't worked. They beat up on a bunch of teams that weren't very good, and then they get into a situation here and haven't been able to put the points on the board to win. And they weren't able to stop an Iowa team that had heart and they had toughness, and ultimately they won the game up front with the offensive and defensive lines.
You saw those numbers. This will rival Urban Meyer's worst day as a head football coach. trailing by 31 at Iowa. As night falls, I get a sense the party's just about to begin. Security has started lining the field, as you might expect. As if the fans weren't close enough here already at Kinnick. Weber will take a knee. Back to Adnan.
All right, Leaves, updating you on Bedlam. It's been a wild game in Stillwater. First and goal for the Cowboys. They're down by 3, but Mason Rudolph is picked off in the end zone. And so it's 41-38 remains. We're not even in the fourth quarter yet. It has been 3 hours so far of Bedlam. And coming up next, TCU taking on Texas, the Horned Frogs, and Kenny Hill. He's put up some big numbers so he can do against the Longhorns. Leaves, back to you.
All right, Adnan, thank you. Wow, crazy. We've been fortunate to see both of those teams.
Well, Heisman contenders, right? I mean, Mason Rudolph throws a costly interception there. Obviously, J.T. Barrett entered into that Heisman conversation, and he's now out of that.
Saquon Barkley had another rough game today. Struggled running the football as he did a week ago. 14 carries for 63 yards rushing for Barkley.
And then there was Baker Mayfield and Bryce Love. Let's see how Bryce Love does coming back tonight off an injury.
Antonio Williams, his first carry. Second, I beg your pardon, on 2nd and 2.
This crowd came in with the blackout tonight.
Yeah.
New uniforms for the first time, and a lot of the players were excited about it. Fans were excited about it. Kurt Ferentz wasn't very excited about it. He's a traditionalist, likes the old Pittsburgh Steelers unis.
Josie Jewell said, I'm like Coach in that regard. If we win, the uniforms will look great on tape after the fact. It's going to look great on tape, whatever they're wearing. Williams, big stick. This Iowa defense, they keep hitting in the final minute.
You see Brian Ferentz, offensive coordinator, gives a lot of credit to him. A lot of credit goes to Phil Parker, the defensive coordinator. An entire staff for the Iowa Hawkeyes. They had the plan that came in. They outcoached Ohio State, no question about it.
Hey, wish me luck, fellas.
Yeah, this will be fun to watch.
For you.
Put your helmet on, chin strap up. Oh, they're inching closer.
Get in the middle, McShay.
Here we go. The place is about to explode. It's all Iowa.
Let me know where he is.
Nationally, this will be the story about how Ohio State was manhandled here today. Locally, this is a great story about the Hawkeyes, who always seem to come close. Truly a signature victory. Look at this place, Grease.
It's unbelievable. It's one of the greatest places to play in all of college football. You see Kurt Ferentz needs an escort to get out. He's got a whole troop in front of him.
See if you can find McShay. Can you see McShay in there? It's like, where's Waldo? Where's McShay?
I actually fear for his safety. He's not going to get Kurt Ferentz because Kurt Ferentz is headed for the tunnel. What a great sight. What a great place to play, watch a game. And I love thinking about all of the kids in the Children's Hospital up there watching this too. Pretty cool.
College football at its finest. Smiling Jack, Bria, Logan, Sam, all their families.
Great call, bud.
All the workers, all the doctors and the nurses give such great care. Final score, Iowa beat number 6 Ohio State 55-24. You heard me right. 55-24 Iowa to Bob Wischusen, Brock Ewart, and Allison Williams.